What is up, fight fans? And we are here with you live on MMA Weekly, the most trusted source of news and information in mixed martial arts for almost 20 years. I can't wait till it's 20 and I can take out the almost. I'm Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. The man with the beautiful hair is Jeff Cain. The Caniacs are in the building, Jeff. And Jeff Cain looks like a magazine ad for like Pantene or something. What's up, my brother? It's been a couple weeks. We had the week off last week, and we got a big fight card tonight. Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum. Event from the UFC Apex in Vegas.
Yeah, we're back with the UFC on ESPN fight card, which means exciting matchups. You know, they stack it with exciting, compelling matchups. Two really meaningful fights, and then a lot of really good, like I said, stylistic matchups. The undercard kind of showed with some crazy knockouts tonight. So far, it's been nuts.
Yeah, good card so far, Jeff. And I mean, just do me one favor. I'm just going to get it out of the way because everyone in the chat room is thinking the same thing. Everyone watching all over the world is thinking, please run your fingers through your hair just one time. Just do it for me. Do it for the bald guy.
I gotta figure out. Here we go.
He was playing guitar before the show started, and I'm sitting there going, my partner's literally a rock star. He was playing us in. We had the tunes going. We were waiting to go live. We got Scott at the UFC Apex in Vegas, the third biggest event in town tonight, Jeff. Can you believe it? WWE has SummerSlam at Allegiant Stadium right down the road. Manny Pacquiao's fighting tonight in Vegas. It would have been great if it was Spence, but he's out. But the UFC is, I don't want to say third fiddle because they're charging a couple of mortgages for the tickets inside the Apex tonight.
Yeah, small crowd means really expensive ticket prices. Yeah, man, Vegas, you know, it's an entertainment town. There's always a lot going on. But tonight, yeah, there is maybe a little more than usual, you know, because we didn't even talk about all the shows that are going on at the casinos, you know, the people that have residencies and shit. That's always going on in Vegas. And tonight, you've got a variety.
Oh, yeah.
Boxing, MMA, wrestling. Got a pretty good combat sport variety.
All the DJs, all the bands. I just saw this week that Kiss is going to play their final residency ever. Their last show is supposedly going to be New Year's Eve in Vegas, and I always take it with a mountain of salt or a pile of salt or whatever you would call it. It's not a grain of salt whenever any rock star says it's their last show, because I remember Motley Crue saying if they signed a contract saying they can never tour again, and now they're touring again, because imagine how much, you know, millions of dollars plays into that, man. But always a big night in Vegas, always a big fight night. These are the nights. They're on ESPN. They'll do $1 million+ on there, easy. But, Jeff, these are the fight cards that end up grabbing you. And we've already seen some big-time KOs, 3 in a row on the undercard, by the way. And then a great performance by Brian Kelleher in the co-main on the prelims. And then for Kelvin Gastelum. He stepped in last time out to face Robert Whittaker. This time he replaces Paulo Costa to fight Jared Cannonier. Each of these guys lost to Robert Whittaker in their last fight. So you didn't have to go too far to find a common opponent. The Reaper is world class. But KG and the Killer Gorilla, big night for my Arizona brethren out there, man. We got the Killer Gorilla from the MMA Lab in Glendale. We got Kelvin Gastelum from Yuma. Mark Madsen, the Olympian, trains at Fight Ready. The Danish two-time Olympic silver medalist trains in Arizona. And you got Clay Guida, who looked really good his last time out against Michael Johnson, who also trained for that fight here in Arizona. But it's a good fight card, man. We got Pantoja and Royval going right now, just getting going in round number 2. Pretty good start for Pantoja. And this is a big fight at flyweight, Jeff. This is a really big fight in the flyweight division with Brandon Moreno fresh off that win over Figueiredo. He's the champ, 2 in a row over him. Askarov is 2, but Pantoja at number 3 and Royval at number 6 at 125, getting it going tonight. And they're in round 2, almost at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, this is a big fight. This is one of the, I said it's got two really meaningful bouts on it as far as rankings and things like that and implications, title shots. All the fights have implications, but big time implications. And this is one of them, man. I mean, this is probably the biggest fight on the fight card. I mean, the main event's there, but these guys are slightly ranked higher. You got third and sixth in this one, and you got third and ninth in the main event. But yeah, this is a huge fight for the flyweight division, and it might be getting close to an ending. I don't know. I'm watching it.
Yeah, Pantoja's got his back. Sinking and choking. He's been grappling, took him down. You're ahead of me, I think, by the way, Jeff. But Pantoja's legit on the ground,
out.
man.
He's out.
Yeah, he's got him.
I thought he was getting ready to go out. I apologize. I am just.
It's a rear naked choke, Jeff. He's got the triangle locked in completely, and it looks to me like he was almost tapping there. I'm at 315. Yeah, he tapped. He's done. 315 of round 2. Pantoja by submission, rear naked choke. So Pantoja's next level, though, man. I mean, he just made the number 6 guy in the world. He absolutely dominated him. So now, and look at this fight coming into it. Pantoja was a pretty big favorite, as high as minus 180 at one sports book. But when you think about that fight and the implications in the flyweight division, that win doesn't do a whole hell of a lot for him because he's not going to jump ahead. At least I don't think he's going to jump ahead of Askarov or Figueiredo, with Moreno, the champ, enjoying that champ life for a while. No telling when he might get in there and fight soon. But do you give Figueiredo another shot? Askarov's been really doing well. He's a great wrestler. Pantoja now staying right there with him. And Royval probably dropped down maybe a little bit after this one. But he got dominated tonight. Pantoja on another level, clearly.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll drop down because he was 6th already. And look, he wasn't expected to win. But, yeah, he was dominated tonight. That was nice. I thought he went out because the camera angle was from behind him, and right before he tapped, it looked like his arm went limp, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's out." His arm didn't go limp; he was just pulling it further out so he could tap. Yeah, that was an impressive performance. He whenever you get matched up with a guy lower than you in the rankings, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation because you have to look good. I feel like the pressure's added. Not only do you win, you have to look good in it. Tonight, he did just that. That was a beautiful win. Took him down, rear naked choke, sunk it in. That was it.
Jeff, we got to get the chat going, man. There's nobody chatting yet. We got some people in here, so I'm going to get it going in the chat and say, what's up, guys? Give me a little roll call. Where are you watching us from tonight? What do you think about tonight's fight card? What do you think about all the events going on in Vegas in the real and imaginary combat sports world? Of course, I say imaginary because the WWE is in Vegas as well, and they're doing well at Allegiant Stadium with SummerSlam. So that was a big one. I know that CM Punk came back last night in AEW. The WWE, you got Roman Reigns and John Cena. I think Goldberg's back, and that's about the extent of my knowledge, only from scrolling through TikTok. Jeff, I used to be a big WWE fan, man. I really did. But one thing that they did that's cool, I was a fan when Hogan was there and all those guys, and a fan when The Rock and Austin were there, and that was probably it. I went to college with The Rock and got to know him at Miami. But the WWE had Gable Stevenson there, the U.S. Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, got a big pop, wrestling term, from the crowd. So that's a big one down the road. You got Manny Pacquiao in town and the UFC with Gastelum and Cannonier, though. Interesting to see because Cannonier had a broken arm and a broken orbital bone after fighting Robert Whittaker, and Kelvin got dominated by Whittaker. So Whittaker dominated both these guys to cement himself as the number 1 contender at middleweight in the UFC for Izzy's belt, which will be sometime next year. But this one will go a long way toward determining who is going to the hot title shot against the winner of Adesanya and Whittaker. Because when you look at that division, Marvin Vettori just lost to Izzy. He's at number 4. Derek Brunson's at 5. He fights Darren Till coming up in a couple of weeks, who's ranked 7th. So you got Brunson and Till coming up. Hermansson's at 6, but Gastelum at 9 with a win could jump up a few spots. Cannonier at number 3 could leap over Paulo Costa at number 2. And this was supposed to be Costa and Cannonier, the number 2 and 3 in the division. But Kelvin Gastelum always staying ready, jumping in last minute's notice. And, they love guys who do that. But this is a huge, huge fight in a stacked division at 185 in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, for Cannonier particularly, if he wins, like you said, then all of a sudden there's title talk. After Whittaker gets his shot, who's next in line, he's got a strong argument if he wins tonight. For Gastelum, ranked number 9th, yeah, he's going to jump in there. It's not going to get him in title contention yet, but it's going to get him back into 1 or 2 fights away. So it's a huge fight for both of the guys. Cannonier has more on the line. It's just like the fight we just talked about in the flyweight division. For Jared, he's got to take on a tough guy, a veteran, a guy that's hard to finish, who's ranked 9th. It doesn't do much for you, but it keeps him active. And he has to look good tonight. I mean, that's all there is to it. If he doesn't look good, then he's not going to pass Costa. He's going to stay where he is in the division. If he loses, of course, he's going to drop. And Kelvin doesn't have a lot to lose other than he doesn't want to be on 2 losses in a row. But he doesn't have a hell of a lot to lose tonight. He can go in there. It's Kelvin, right? He's going to go in there and leave it in the octagon and try to land a big bomb or wrestling. I think we're going to see Kelvin wrestle a lot tonight.
Yeah, you might be right. And Cannonier's a strong dude, though. That's the only thing. He's fought at heavyweight. He's fought at light heavyweight. In fact, he's one of only 2 guys to have finishes in 3 different weight classes in the UFC, which is pretty badass when you think about it. Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla. And I'm trying to remember who the third one is. Some guy Jeff really loves. He's kind of like Irish. He's, like one of those guys. He doesn't really talk much. He's really quiet, almost like timid and scared of the cameras. Who is it, guys? Help me out. Conor McGregor. I'm only teasing you, Jeff. Your favorite guy. All I have to do, and this is a true story. We're on cable, by the way. If you're watching on Xfinity in South Florida, let us know. And I'm going to let Jeff respond in a minute. But my friend found us on cable TV, Jeff, and he's watching us, and he goes, "What the hell's wrong with your partner, man? He's an angry dude." I said, "I only have to say 2 words, and no, the words aren't F you. The words are Conor McGregor," and that sets him off every time. So here I am. But that's the stat. 3 different weight classes. Only 2 guys have a finish in 3 different weight classes, and Conor's one. Jared Cannonier, the main event guy against Kelvin tonight, is the other.
Yeah, but Conor's isn't real because it was over a lightweight.
You mean the cowboy finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't finish Diaz in the second fight. That was a decision. You're right.
That's what it is. I mean, look, I'm not. The stat's true because he did it, but I'm just saying Cowboy's not really a welterweight, and so I don't. Whatever. Yeah, okay. Conor has that,
but didn't Cowboy fight a bunch of fights at welterweight? He didn't fight just one. He went up there for a while, didn't he? I thought he did.
And went back down. Yeah.
Doesn't Cowboy have a bunch of fights at welterweight?
Not a bunch, but I mean, his whole career has been at lightweight. He went up to the welterweight division and got knocked back down to lightweight. But
no, that's true. This is true. Kind of like Rafael dos Anjos, same thing. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but I consider him a lightweight because that's where he spent his his early career in the WEC and then in the UFC, and then that's the division where he had the most impact. He was 1 fight away from title fights, for several years. And so I just consider him a lightweight. But yeah, Conor McGregor, I guess, has 3 finishes in 3 different weight classes. I don't know of anybody who really has an opportunity to do that. Anthony Johnson, maybe, or Rumble, didn't he fight he fought in several weight classes? Maybe BJ Penn. There's not a lot of.
I think didn't Rumble make welterweight at one time? Am I not mistaken about that? Rumble, he made 170. How the freak did Rumble make 170, dude?
He missed weight. Yeah, he missed weight a lot. is what happened. But yeah, but there's not been a ton of people who's had that opportunity. That's jumped around that many weight classes. I'm trying to think like BJ Penn's fought at welterweight, lightweight, and at featherweight. And then I'm trying to think Frankie Edgar is one of those guys.
Can't count Pride.
No,
Pride had those, those types of fights.
Well, I was talking about the UFC. Yeah, because he finished Matt Hughes at welterweight. He clearly finished a bunch of people at lightweight, but he didn't get that finish at 145. Hell, I guess BJ needs to come back and fight me at 145 so he can say he's in that class.
GSP fought in 2 weight classes. He was maybe going to get a third in with Khabib. Don't you love how and Dana's a promoter. People know Dana's a promoter, but the word gets leaked that, GSP's people wanted to fight against Khabib at 155, and GSP just came out and said, "I didn't say that, man. I never said I want to. I'm happy being done." And you never know. There's always 3 stories, yours, mine, and the truth. But I think that would have been a great fight to see, GSP and Khabib, but we're not going to see that fight. But it is remarkable, Jeff, when you think about it. For Jared Cannonier, he's a great story. First of all, the Killer Gorilla trains here in Arizona. He was a heavyweight, a light heavyweight, and a welterweight. And when you look at his career, and we're about to get the second fight started here in a minute. And by the way, Pantoja, that was his 5th finish at flyweight. It's the 3rd most and it was tied for or 3rd most in the history of the division. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Davison Figueiredo with 7 each, and Benavidez with 6. But Jared Cannonier, when you look at his career, and Kelvin's also fought at 170. I've always told Kelvin, dude, you're a welterweight. He just doesn't, it's hard for him to make that weight. But KG at 170 would be, I mean, there's a fight I want to see against Kamaru. He's undersized for a middleweight, which we saw hurt him against Whitaker. We saw hurt him against Chris Weidman. And then he had the 3-fight losing streak with Hermanson in there. Got back in the win column against Heinisch. He was literally this in 2019, that war that he had with Izzy in Atlanta. And people forget how close Kelvin was to being the interim champ, which would have led to a fight against Whitaker, which, of course, there'd have been no guarantee that he would have beaten Rob like Izzy did. And, in fact, when Kelvin did fight Rob, it was a one-sided fight. But so many fighters go up and down in weight classes. The other guy who's had, and Frankie Edgar hasn't had a title fight at 135, but Frankie Edgar's fought in 3 different weight classes, right? 55, 45, and now 35. So there's the other one I was trying to think of is Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I can't. I can't think of any. I mean, there's guys that's jumped around weight classes. Anderson didn't fight at heavyweight unless somebody missed weight for a light heavyweight fight. Did he? Yeah, I take that back. Anderson fought Daniel Cormier. So he did fight 3.
That was at light heavyweight. Yep.
Was it at light heavyweight?
Yeah, well, DC wasn't making 85. You know, DC wouldn't make 285
I was thinking it was
now.
I was thinking it was a heavyweight fight. I thought it was a heavyweight fight, but I could be wrong on that.
You know what? I think it was light heavyweight because remember Jones and DC were supposed to headline at light heavyweight, and you saw he replaced Jones when Dana went that famous video. Dana goes in the back. Let me see. That was and it ended up being the 3rd fight down on the card. Yeah, that was at light heavyweight, and that was a great card, man. It's too bad that Jones and DC didn't get to fight because you had Aldo and Edgar, which was that was for a title. The featherweight title at the time when McGregor had given up that belt and Aldo won it over Edgar to get it back. Cain Velasquez just destroyed Travis Brown on that card. And Amanda Nunes announced to the world that she is a savage when she bludgeoned Miesha Tate half to death in that fight. And, you know, that was where Amanda really had her coming out party. But I'll tell you what, man, when you think about Jared Cannonier, I mean, when he was at heavyweight, this is way back. I mean, he came out of Alaska. He fought in Fairbanks and Anchorage. His first UFC fight was at heavyweight against Sean Jordan, the former fullback from LSU or whatever, and he lost to him by knockout punches. And then he fought Cyril Asker and Kudalaba and Glover Teixeira he lost to at light heavyweight. And Jan Błachowicz has beaten him as well. So you got Jan and Glover coming up for the light heavyweight title. He's fought both of those guys. He's fought Dominic Reyes at light heavyweight, and that's when he dropped down to middleweight to face David Branch, Anderson Silva, and Jack the Joker Hermanson back to back, and then Robert Whitaker. So he's run the gamut in all those heavier weight classes. But the point I'm trying to make with this is that when you have a guy who drops down, and I mean, look, Alexander Volkanovski was a 240-pound rugby player. When you once weighed that much and you pick up the strength of a guy that size, you never really lose it. So he's a middleweight with heavyweight strength, if that makes sense.
Well, and you know he's also used to feeling heavyweights and he's been hit by heavyweights and big light heavyweights, you know, and so even that aspect of it. I think the biggest attribute that he's going to have tonight is his reach advantage. He's got like a 6.5 or 7 inch reach advantage, and now Kelvin's used to not having, you know, to being at a reach disadvantage in fights, but not quite that much. And then I'd watch out for Jared's leg kicks. I think he's got to be careful because Kelvin will try to fire a right hand straight down the middle and knock him out, or catch that leg kick and take him down. But, you know, he finished Anderson Silva with leg kicks. And yes, Anderson wasn't in his prime. I don't give a damn about that. He finished Anderson Silva with leg kicks. That's crazy.
Yeah, he did.
So this is
heavy leg
tough
kicks,
matchup, man. Yeah,
very heavy. And then when
heavy.
Kelvin's coming in, if he's coming in and he's looking to get it to avoid the punches, those kicks from Cannonier. And here's what it comes down to. I think Dean Thomas said this. I read somewhere, and I love Dean. But when you think about this fight, Kelvin's going to want to bring the heat. He always does, right? He comes out and he comes after you. He's hunting for your head from the second. He was a little timid against Darren Till after the Izzy fight, and that's to be expected. Darren Till is a big problem at 185 and in every weight class. And even Dana said they rushed him a little bit, but Darren Till is not done being a factor in the title picture. He actually said something this week that really impressed me, Jeff. Darren Till did. He said, I don't care if I lose, how many fights I lose, what I have to go through to win that belt. There's a guy who's dedicated to doing it. Now, whether he can or not is another story. But when I think about Kelvin Gastelum, I've known him since he was in high school. The Ultimate Fighter winner, beat Uriah Hall by decision when no one thought he would. But if you count the no contest against Vitor that was overturned because Kelvin tested positive for a marijuana metabolite, which is the dumbest shit I still have ever heard in my entire life, because if anything, it would take away from your performance. But I digress. If you count that no contest, Jeff, and he has only won 3 of his last 9 fights. And I know KG's a crowd favorite. I know he's a great fighter, and he represents himself well against everyone. But he's got to win some fights, man. No one's safe in the UFC, especially guys who make decent money with all these younger fighters coming in. So Weidman beat him. Then he beat Bisping and Jacare back-to-back, a knockout and a decision. By the way, congrats on a great career to Jacare. He retired since the last time we did a show. And then the 3 losses in a row for KG, Izzy, Darren Till, Jack Hermanson. He did not look good at all. That was a 1 minute and 18-second submission. He beats Ian Heinisch, then he loses to Whitaker. Now, Weidman, Adesanya, Till, Hermanson, and Whitaker is a freaking murderer's row. There's no shame in your game if you lose to those guys, but when you're losing that many fights in succession, and when you've actually lost 5 out of 8 fights, that's not good for anybody. KG's really in a position where he's got to, and he picked up the fight. He stepped in for Paulo, but this is a huge one. He's got to get a win here. This is a big one for Kelvin.
Yeah, no, Kelvin's been, in my opinion on that for like the last couple of years, he snapped that losing streak, like you mentioned earlier, and then, he lost again. And so I feel like he's kind of had his back against the ropes. But hopefully the people that represent Kelvin, whenever Paulo Costa dropped out, said, look, I'll step up, but I get another fight. No matter what happens, I get another fight. So hopefully they were smart enough to work that in. I don't know how many fights Kelvin has left on his contract or things like that. But like you said, with all of those losses in his last 8 fights, I would have been careful about stepping in and taking this fight tonight unless I had a guaranteed comeback. I get to come back and headline another fight card, or I get to come back and guaranteed, whatever. So hopefully his management team did that for him. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm just hoping. Kelvin's people are smart enough to do that.
Yeah, he's got Ali, Abdulaziz, and Ali's definitely not missing anything when it comes to his fighters. Say what you want, think what you want about Ali, but for sure, every fighter I know, and I'm friends with a lot of his fighters, from Kelvin to Gaethje to Henry, and even Khabib and Kamaru. I don't know them really well, but he's got a ton of big-time fighters, so he's negotiated every type of contract in the world. But you're right, man, to step in, and he stepped in last time, too, against Whitaker, and he steps in anytime against anyone, and we know how much Dana loves that. It's one of the biggest things he loves about McGregor. He loves guys who will jump in there anytime, any place against anyone, and it takes a certain type of individual to do that. So props to KG on this one. Props to Jared Cannonier. This is going to be a good fight. This is the one that Paulo dropped out of, and he hasn't been doing himself any favors hanging out with the Paul brothers for the last couple of years and making contract demands. And Dana basically said, piss off, come in here and fight your contract out if you want to leave. And that's his response. But, Paulo had some trouble. The Izzy fight, he gets the opportunity of a lifetime. He says he wants to fight him again and he won't be drunk this time. And you just got to wonder if anybody's advising Paulo right now. I love the dude. He's a great guy. I've known him for years, but he's not helping himself much lately.
No, he's not. Look, he doesn't have a big enough name to be playing hardball like that with the UFC. Look, right. John Jones can't. John Jones is trying to do that, and you don't get to be a bigger name than John Jones, and the UFC's still telling him to go fuck himself. And so, yep. I mean, when Paulo does it, they just gotta laugh. They just gotta laugh at that, right? I mean, when Paulo starts making demands, you just gotta chuckle and say, "Whatever, kid. Call me when you want to get back in there, and until then, don't call me." But yeah, you gotta question who's in his ear. You aren't big enough. You have to win a title. You've got to do, to make those demands. You can't be Paulo Costa, not Paulo Costa right now. Anyway, he's got to put something together. Like I said, it's hard. GSP wasn't allowed to go box outside of the UFC. You don't get any bigger than that. And so whoever the hell's in Paulo's ear is doing him a great disservice. And whoever's not telling him what to say, I mean, I don't care if you were drunk the night before the fight. You sure as the hell don't say that. You don't put that out there in public. So I don't know what the hell he's thinking. Honestly, he's his own worst enemy. He's his own worst enemy right now.
Yeah, and you have to think he'll figure it out. It's hard too. He's from another country. He doesn't speak English super well. He got the opportunity of a lifetime over on Fight Island, had to fly from Brazil to England, have a layover there, and then go to Fight Island where the clock is completely the opposite of where he was. But you know what? Everybody had to deal with the same shit, man. It wasn't unique to him for sure, even though to be in those 3 time zones and, be on layovers and sitting in airports in the middle of COVID, and then you get there and you drink a bottle of wine to fall asleep, and then it has that effect on you the next day. But, man, it's a tough one for Paulo. But for Jared Cannonier and for Kelvin Gastelum, now we're pretty much sure that, Kelvin's not going to get a title shot with a win here, and maybe not even 2 wins in a row, because Izzy and Rob are going to fight it out. And I don't believe, unless something just happened with that there's a date for that one yet. Sometime next year is what they're looking at. And of course, everybody at City Kickboxing has been focused on T-City Brian Ortega for Alexander Volkanovski. But Izzy and Rob are going to fight for the belt. And if anything happens there, though, Jeff, here's where it gets interesting for Cannonier. With a win in this fight tonight, and even it would have been a win over Costa, and then the winner of that fight would have been there for sure. But you have to figure, given what we just said about Paulo Costa, which is why I'm leading it this way, Cannonier will leapfrog Paulo and get the title shot with a win here tonight, in my mind. I feel like he will. I feel like if he picks up the win tonight and anything happens with that Adesanya-Whitaker fight, A, it would be Cannonier who steps in against Izzy, or B, Cannonier who would fight Rob in maybe an interim type of situation if Izzy wins and something happens with him. So either way, Cannonier's in a great position with a win tonight where his next fight could legit be for the strap.
Yeah, look, if Cannonier looks good tonight, I think the only way I'm not going to bump him over Paulo is, look, if he goes out and has a split decision, win, or it doesn't look great, it's a really, really, really close fight, and he wins by unanimous, maybe I don't leapfrog him. But yeah, if he looks good tonight, there's no way he's not jumping over Paulo Costa in my mind. Well, on my ballot, he will. I'll put it that way. If he's
I was going to say you have a vote.
Yeah, if he's able to finish Kelvin Gastelum, he's going to jump over Paulo because Paulo just hasn't done anything. And then not to mention, I don't even know where he is. He's fallen out of a couple of fights, and then so wins in a row mean more than sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, no doubt. And Jeff Cain obviously has a vote in both, and that's exciting to see with a lot of movement happening in these divisions. Now, Pantoja, let me ask you this, man, with that win, and I'm going backward here, but I just I should have asked you before. So better late than never. Are you bumping him up on your vote on your ballot ahead of Askarov or Figueiredo with that win tonight, or are you keeping him at 3?
Let me look real quick.
You got Moreno the champ, Figueiredo 1, Askarov 2, and Pantoja 3.
No, you can't, because his 2 losses are to Figueiredo and Askarov, so he can't jump over them. And so he stays where he is. Yeah, he just stays where he is. I mean, you can jump over him, but I don't think that he's. He hasn't. It's been too recent. Askarov hasn't lost. And he beat him just. In
he's a beast.
In July of 2020, and then Figueiredo's Figueiredo, man. I don't think he drops anywhere. I think he stays right where he is until the top of that division sorts itself out a little bit. We'll see though. But no, I don't. He doesn't leapfrog either of those guys, in my opinion. Now the question for me on that fight is do you drop the other guy? I'm terrible.
Royval.
Do you? Yeah, Royval.
Do you drop below
or not?
Kai Kara France and Rogerio Bontorin are directly behind him, nipping at his heels at 7 and 8. And Benavidez at 5. Obviously, he's not going anywhere at 5. He's in Italy right now, having a good time with his wife, Megan Olivi, on vacation. Saw some posts from them over in Italy. But, yeah, I wonder, Jeff, so let me ask you this then. If Kelvin wins tonight, right, and he knocks the shit out of Cannonier, let's say he blasts him and knocks him out, it's certainly a possibility, right? If Kelvin wins, do you put him up ahead of Darren Till and Jack Hermanson, to whom he's lost, both of them? So Kelvin's at 9. Strickland's above him at 8, who's really on a rise. Everybody loving Sean Strickland. Last time we did a show, he was the main event. So Darren Till and Hermanson are at 7 and 6, and Kelvin's at 9. But if Kelvin wins impressively tonight over the number 3 guy in Cannonier, does he leapfrog Till at 7 or Hermanson at 6? On your ballot.
I don't. I probably will not. No, I mean, I think that he could get back to Hermanson or be ranked. He could possibly, you got to look at all that shit. It gets complicated, right? He's got the
it does.
those guys.
It's a big responsibility, Jeff.
and then he beat Cannonier. I mean, that's going to be one of those things where you just got to lay it all out and see, who's Sean Strickland's wins over. Kelvin's losses, we've already listed them. I don't feel like, and that's why he's still 9. He can lose all those fights and still be 9 because, he's not losing to anybody really below him. He's losing to all those people at the top of that division. And so he kind of stays where he is. I don't know. If you ask me, my personal opinion is I think Darren Till's elevated in the ranks. But because he has a fight coming up, I kind of let it ride. You know what I mean? If Kelvin wins tonight, and then let's say Till loses or Hermanson loses, then that might be an opportunity for Kelvin to leap over a guy that he's actually lost to. But I don't know. That all this shit's got to play. That division's so crazy, man. Because Paulo's up there in number 2, but not doing anything.
Right.
And so if Jared wins tonight, he's probably going to jump over him. Whitaker's clearly the number 1 contender. And then Vittori's sitting there. Brunson. That's just a crazy division. It's all jammed up. And Weidman will be gone. Weidman will be out of there. He's not going to come back before it's time to remove him from the rankings, in my opinion.
Right. Right.
And even if he does, he shouldn't come back against anyone in those rankings, in my opinion. And so he's probably going to fall out of the rankings. So there's going to be an opportunity for somebody to jump in there soon. I'm talking about within the next 6 months because
he needs to go up to light heavyweight anyway, Jeff. I don't want to tell a fighter what to do with his career. Far be it from me, but I really want to see Paulo go up to 205. He's a freaking monster.
Oh, Paulo.
And I think he'd do well up there. Yeah. I think he'd do well up there. He cuts so much weight. How can you be at your best 36 hours after you cut half your body and you drain every freaking fluid out of it? How in the world are you ever going to be at your best? I mean, I give him a lot of credit for even being able to do it. I've been there behind the scenes in Anaheim a couple summers ago when he fought Romero. I was there with Henry Cejudo. We were just hanging out, walking around, and we went to the workout room. And every time the UFC's on the road, they have a hotel, and in the hotel, all the fighters are staying there. Everybody's staying there, the executives, and they take over either a conference room or something like that and a couple of them for workouts, blue corner and a red corner, right? Well, Paulo was in one of those little portable sauna thingies that zip up like a camping tent. You know what I'm talking about, Jeff? And he's in there, and he gets out. And dude, I have never seen a puddle of water this big from Paulo Costa's sweat. He looked like he was – remember those little commercials? And I don't mean to be insensitive. Don't cancel me, please. Disclaimer. But remember when they used to say feed Ethiopia, and they had those infomercials with these poor starving kids? That's what Paulo looked like to me. And I'm like, and he was still like 12 pounds away when I saw him. I'm like, and I asked Eric Albarracin, the captain, I was like, dude, how in the, is he going to cut 12 more pounds? How is it even humanly possible? It's amazing how much weight some of these guys can cut and still come back and perform. I just think it's too much.
Yeah, I don't know what he walks around at. I don't know how much. I mean, there's a lot of people, man. I've seen.
Well over 2. Way over 2.
I've seen people cut weight, man, and to where I didn't think not only did I think they weren't going to make the fight, I was questioning whether or not morally we don't just give this guy some friggin' water. Watching Chris Cyborg cut weight, man. I mean, you think that she's going to die. You think that she's going to die. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, just drink something. Fuck the fight.
Hey, speaking of which, I got to stop you for 1 second and ask you what you think about the possibility of Cyborg and Kayla Harrison. After Kayla's last win, she's like, Cyborg, literally, one of the reporters in the press conference said, hey, Cyborg said she can make 155. And she's like, yeah, Kayla basically said, yeah, she can make 155, but I'd still whip her ass. I think that'd be an awesome fight and maybe the biggest women's MMA fight we could see in the world outside of the UFC.
I think that fight goes terrible for Cyborg.
Terrible.
Unless she lands big shots when Harrison's closing the distance.
Kayla's a monster,
Cyborg
dude.
Couldn't do it, but yeah, Harrison's she's 155 pounds, and that's a world-class athlete. And she's so good at what she does. So I'd be crazy to sit here and think that she's not just going to go out there and take Cyborg down. And once that happens, it's pretty much over.
How do you compare her to Ronda? How do you compare? Because Kayla's a judoka and she's a gold medalist. Ronda wasn't a gold medalist, but Kayla and Henry are always bickering back and forth. And you probably just saw if you follow me on IG at JimGrease _GRIES on Instagram. And by the way, follow us on MMA Weekly's Instagram and subscribe. Hit all the bells. Everything right here on YouTube. It's MMA Weekly's live coverage of UFC on ESPN. Cannonier versus Gastelum. We're in round number 3 right now of our second fight on the main card. Vink Pichel and Austin Hubbard. Hubbard landing a lot of big shots, and the two of them throwing leg kicks all night at one another. But when I think about Kayla Harrison, and her striations have striations. She's a freak of an athlete. Her and Henry are always going back and forth. If you saw it on ESPN's Instagram this week, and I put myself and threw it up there because I was in it. And of course, anytime I'm in something like that with Khabib, Kayla Harrison, and Henry Cejudo, I'm going to milk it for all it's worth. But Kayla's a monster. She's ripped. Obviously, a great striker will give her problems because she's not at that level yet. But the strength that she has, and we saw, though, what happened when Ronda Rousey faced great strikers in Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes. That's the type of girl it's going to take to beat Kayla, if anyone can do it. It has to be an elite kickboxer, an elite Muay Thai girl. But again, Cyborg might be the only one in the world that's near her weight class who could even give her a fight. I can't see anybody else giving her a fight, Jeff.
Well, I think that Harrison is God, how do I word this? She has better coaches than Ronda did. I'll say that. I won't put it on Ronda.
American Top Team. Yeah.
Well, what I mean by that is that Ronda had people in her ear convincing her she could strike with Holly Holm, and that she could strike with Amanda Nunes. Harrison's not going to entertain that shit for a second.
No.
She's not going out there to throw punches at all. All she's going to do is slip a punch and clinch and take Cyborg down. And so to compare her to Ronda, she's Ronda just better, right? Bigger and better. And so I feel like, and honestly, if I could go back in time, if Ronda had never tried to do that stuff, never, didn't have whatever the hell is Edmund in her head telling her to punch and shit, then maybe Ronda approaches those fights differently. Because Miesha Tate was able to beat Holly Holm, and Ronda had her way with Holly, or had her way with Miesha, a couple of times. And so I feel like Harrison is a different athlete than Ronda, and I feel like the people around her don't lie to her. That's
a good point. And she's 5'8", Jeff. She's ripped. Her traps, her shoulders are massive. But think about her. She was born the year I graduated high school. That always stings a little bit. But she won the 2010 World Judo Championships, gold medals at the 2012 and 2016 Olympics, and gold at the 2011 and 2015 Pan American Games. She's not a one-time gold medalist. She won gold in every major event she entered. She beat everyone's ass in every event she entered. And that's where she always gets Henry, because Henry won 1 gold medal, and this girl's won 2, plus 2 Pan Ams and a world championship. That means she was the best in the world 5 times in 5 different competitions. And now, obviously, in the PFL. And you know what really stands out to me too, Jeff? I'm amazed we even have a 55 division in women's MMA. For a while there, we wondered if we'd ever see 45 to have enough women to even fill that out. I'm amazed that she's finding opponents at that weight. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. That's the problem with Cyborg too. And that's the problem the UFC's running into with Amanda Nunes at 145. There's just not enough, and the ones that are there, they've already beat. And so, yeah, it's going to be hard for Harrison to find opponents. But Cyborg's perfect, right? Cyborg's a star. Everybody knows who Cyborg is, and so that makes perfect sense. But Harrison was not only the best in the world, she was the best in the world for a decade, Jim. Those Olympics are 4 years apart, so that's 8 years span with the 2 Olympic golds. And then the Pan Am Games, that's the 2 years before. It's a decade, a friggin' decade. And Henry, get in there and grapple that girl. That's what I say. I'm not for, I won't even entertain the idea that, and I've seen people talk about this shit. I'll joke and say Amanda Nunes can beat bantamweights in the UFC, and I think she can, males. But I don't want to see women and men actually fight. But when we're talking about a grappling match between Harrison and Cejudo, where she's actually bigger than him, with more Olympic accolades, I say run it, do it. Do it for charity. You talk about that'd be amazing. That would be friggin'
It'd be amazing, man. You know what we should do? We should call in to the Hot Boxing podcast and ambush Henry and make him do it. I don't think we'd have to make him do it. By the way, Cyborg's been making 145 for so long. She was having trouble making 45 earlier in her career. She had a couple catchweight fights at 150. She would love to fight at 155. The only thing with Cyborg, of course, you guys know, she's the Bellator featherweight champ. and she's defended that belt twice. So obviously she's in Bellator and under contract with them, no PFL. And I don't know the status of her contract, but I don't know the status of Kayla's either. And she could easily jump to Bellator because the UFC doesn't have a 55-pound division. There would be a 2-girl division in Bellator if it was Kayla and Cyborg. But I'm pretty excited at the possibility because we haven't seen a girl Cyborg size in a long time. And again, making 45 is very tough for Cyborg. The weight cut is grueling for her. And again, I find it hard to believe that anyone could cut that much weight in that short of a time, take every fluid out of your body, and be at your best 36 hours later. If Cyborg were to have a nice and easy weight cut, a nice and easy camp, eating right the whole time, and remaining around that 160 mark, to make it to 55 is pretty easy for Chris Cyborg. So that'd be interesting, man. I definitely think that, Kayla's a big star, man. And she's a little, look, she's got that Ronda in her. She's cocky on the mic, almost to the point of, like, I don't want to say cringe because that's Henry's word, but Kayla's like a little, how do I say this without, I'm not trying to diss her. I'm not trying to insult her. No. She's loud. She's kind of like, her voice is gruff. She's just like, you want to punch her if you're someone who's going to fight her.
Well, I think that that's just her personality. She's quirky a little bit.
Yeah.
But man,
quirky.
She's a strong woman. She flat out shut that reporter down and
She did.
And she did that. I really like Kyla. She's she's good for women. She's good for women.
I mean, who goes into a press conference though and asks conference and ask pretty girl if they're nervous about being punched because they're pretty? I mean, that jackass should never have a credential again, by the way. That's how I feel about that. Stupid.
Well, you hear it a lot though. I mean, that's not the first time I've heard that. When people interviewed Miesha Tate, I remember back in the day, that's the things that they would say. They would ask her about her looks and shit like this. Paige Van Zandt. It's like it's where they go. It's the never-ending battle for women. To get acceptance. I don't like when people do it. Like I said, I'll when people talk about how hot a female fighter is, just to make them really feel uncomfortable, I start talking about how hot a particular male fighter is. And just basically repeat what they say, except say it about the guy, and then it kind of clicks that that's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. But I like Harrison a lot. I like her a lot. I mean, she said Izzy couldn't stop her from taking him down. Holy shit! Are you kidding me right now? I mean, she said friggin' Israel Adesanya couldn't stop me from taking him down. And you know what? I don't think he could. He'd beat her though, but I don't think he could keep her. Are you muted?
I'm an idiot. That's what's the problem. I'm a complete moron. We all know this. And I got to get to the chat in a minute, Jeff. But yeah, she did say that. And Jan Błachowicz only took him down, 3 times? So you think she's stronger than Jan? Marvin Vettori couldn't do it.
Technique?
Really? Yeah, but do you think her technique's better than Vettori's? And who knows? She's amazing. She's amazing. I'm not going to go. But, we saw Holly Holmes stuff a couple of Ronda's takedown attempts. And if that's what, you're going to do is take people down and throw an armbar, Kayla she's different, though. She takes them down and beats them up. She's not taking you down to put an armbar on you.
Yeah, and Ronda always did that, upper body takedown. She would always get you in that headlock and then hip toss you to the ground. You don't see people do that. That's not the way you would take people down. Harrison, like I said, I think she has better people around her. She's going to shoot for a double. She's going to keep shooting for a double. She's got all the judo takedowns she could possibly want, right?
Yeah.
She can do those in her sleep. So she's probably working on double legs and single legs and high crotch takedowns and things like that. Just every bit of takedowns. I think that's what hurt Ronda. Ronda didn't change her takedowns. It was the same. It was the same every time. But she was so good at it, Olympic level, that she was able to beat almost everybody in the world that way, or was at one time. And then she ran up against people who are also world-class athletes, done some things themselves, and she wasn't able to do that so easily. I feel like Harrison is more well-rounded than Ronda when it comes to that. And Ronda should have been, that should have been one of the first things she worked on is get with Cormier, get with Cejudo, or get with some people on single legs, double legs, every takedown you could possibly think of. That's what you should have done. But Harrison does that. Harrison's smart, man. Harrison's smart. Now, I'm not saying she's
Well,
got
and think about her training partners, man. She trains with Amanda Nunes, and she trains with Joanna Jacek when she's there. I mean, how in the hell can you beat that at American Top Team? To train with those two legends of the sport is pretty badass. I mean, and so, the sky's the limit. And I didn't even know you had 6 degrees of black belt in judo. I had no idea. She's a 6th-degree black belt. I mean, that's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but it's belts.
Yeah, man, I didn't know that she was a. Look, I don't care about all that. I don't care about belts, to be honest with you. Olympic gold medals, though, you can't manufacture them. Those are not bullshit.
You can't.
There's nothing political about that. You went out there and beat everybody in the world and got a gold medal. But I didn't know that about her. I mean, that's impressive. A black belt, don't get me wrong. People who have black belts in anything have put in a shit ton of work and dedication to get that. And so I'm not going to knock a black belt, but not all black belts are equal. You know, and not all lineages are equal. But gold medals, man, I don't give a damn. That's a belt unto itself. She's the best in the world at judo. Just put it that way. At that weight, she's the best in the world. At one time, Cejudo was the best at his weight at freestyle wrestling in the world.
Yeah.
Nobody. Yep. And you can't take that away from these guys or from these people. Your black belt, you can criticize depending on where you got it, but you can never criticize a gold medal, ever.
Never criticize a gold medal. And speaking of criticism, I want to give a shout out. He probably thinks I'm ducking him because he corrected me. Homeless in America, who's in the chat a lot. Appreciate you, buddy. He said Volkanovski was 214, not 240. So I guess I said 240. I stand corrected there. And then we wanted to say what's up, too, to Isaac Jamerson. Isaac in the chat is always super chatting us, always contributing in here. So I wanted to say what's up to Isaac and to Homeless in America, which may end up being a lot of us if things continue this way with this president. We might all be homeless by the end of the time he's done. But anyway, I digress. Not a political show. But a win, Jeff, for Vince Pichel over Austin Hubbard. The stock market, I guess, is doing good, but the inflation is what I'm talking. I can't afford anything anymore. Never could, actually, for that matter. Vince Pichel and Austin Hubbard just put on a pretty good performance, but a unanimous 30-27 across the board win for Pichel at lightweight.
I only got to see a little bit of that one, man. To be honest with you, we got to talking about the Olympics, and I got all fired up. But yeah, we got two fights on the main card in the books. One went to decision, one was a submission. Knocking them down, man. We still got 4 fights left, though. I do like that about these ESPN fight cards because it's like clockwork, right? You get 2 fights an hour, right? 2 fights an hour every 30 minutes. And so you know when it's going to start, you know when it's going to end. And it allows them to stack that main card, with 6 fights. Because they know we're just going to run commercials or run a bunch of promos or whatever we have to do to make sure that we fit, 2 fights an hour. I really do like these ESPN fight cards, though. Not to mention it's on TV. I can just tune on the TV and watch it.
I'm watching on my phone real quick. I just had to get that right. I'm muting one, the other, and my phone, I can't just mute it. Like when I'm watching on the TV with the remote, I have to iPhone go up and down with the volume. But this next fight coming up is pretty interesting, Jeff. I'm excited for Trevin Jones. It's catchweight at 138.5. And I'm going to take a shot at this one. Said Yakub Kakhramonov. I got it in one shot. Maybe I could be
Kakhramonov.
Kakhramonov. And so anyway, he's there's an interesting story about him, and I literally am a moron because that's the third tonight about that. No good. We don't want to use negative language here on the show, even about ourselves, right? We got to keep it. But let's see. Said Yakub Kakhramonov. I saw a really interesting story about him, and he's making his UFC debut here tonight. But he fought and beat what's his name? Oscar in his last time out, and Tyson Lin. I can't remember what the story was. I'll get back to that. Anyway, this is what happens when we have fighters without Wikipedia pages, Seth. We struggle.
No, yeah, I hear you. I don't know what the story was, but yeah, this is his debut. And honestly, looking at his record stuff, I mean, this could be this is a meaningful fight. This is, it could be a meaningful fight. We'll see, because you never know when people are making their debut if their record's padded or not. The moment of truth comes whenever you get in there with these guys. But I don't know, man. Like I said, there was the two really, really meaningful fights, and then this one, we'll see. I don't know much about him to be honest with you. Like you said, it's his debut, and so the only thing I know is that he's fought in a bunch of promotions that I don't know about against people that I don't know, and so
Well, he's one
I
of those
don't have a
Russian
lot to
guys with the
judge him.
sambo. He's got a lot of sambo.
Yeah, that.
I mean, he's a
well, yeah.
three-time, multiple-time champ in sambo.
Yeah, well, that we know. Yeah, no, I know all that. I mean, I'm just saying that I don't know any of the people that he's fought. I don't know those organizations. I know that he's making his debut tonight, and I expect him to look just like all the other sambo guys, right? Probably going to look good. But I got to see more of him. There's not a like you said, there's not a Wikipedia page out there. I didn't see a lot of videos. Not that I went searching for them really in depth, you know. But we're going to get to see him tonight, and we're going to know we're going to know a hell of a lot more than we did before tonight, or I will anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. And he beat Oscar, who was the top prospect in 2 fights ago, which is good. And his losses are to Pepe Vargas and Umar Nurmagomedov. Of course, Nurmagomedov in the UFC, and the name and Khabib's family there. So that's a pretty good. It's not no shame to lose to that guy. So they're going to get this fight going in just a minute. But, man, this is fun. There's a lot of these fight cards, man. You get a chance to be on ESPN, and, you're going to have a Wikipedia page after this fight. That's for sure.
yeah, he'll have a Wikipedia page after this fight, man. It says, look, there's so many guys on the UFC roster. There's big name, or I mean, I don't want to say big names, but there's people in the UFC that don't have Wikipedia pages that make you scratch your head. You're like, what the hell? That guy doesn't have a Wikipedia page? And then some people that do, and you're like, how the hell does he have one? Like all the journalists and shit. You're like, hold on, this fighter doesn't have one, but okay. Anyway, I digress on that. But yeah. Fighting on ESPN is huge, and we've talked about this in the past. This is bigger than a pay-per-view. More people are going to see you. And so if you're not one of those people that get pay-per-view points and at the top of the business, right, then these are the cards you want to be on. You're going to have more eyeballs. You're going to get more sponsorship opportunity. More people get to know you. Like you said, maybe somebody will create him a Wikipedia page, and then you perform good on ESPN. Then the fight promotions, like, that's a big deal. So we can afford to put him, we can take the chance of putting him on a pay-per-view because he performs under pressure. He performs under the bright lights. And so these cards are huge for the organization and for all of the fighters fighting on it, except for maybe the main event guys.
Yeah, no doubt. And then a great opportunity against Guida, who's been fighting forever. A lot of fans, and Guida looked good his last time out. So Mark Madsen, who's definitely got title aspirations for sure, is a beast of a wrestler, an Olympic silver medalist. We talked about Kayla being a gold medalist in judo. But I just saw a video of Manny Pacquiao walking into T-Mobile Arena. How crazy is it? You got SummerSlam at Allegiant Stadium, Manny Pacquiao fighting at T-Mobile Arena, and the UFC on the same night in the same city. Only in Vegas, man. And I would venture to say this may have never happened before. The WWE is the wild card. It's a major pay-per-view. I wonder if that's ever happened before. You've had all three in the same city on the same night like that. It really is the fight capital of the world tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of places that could even do that. I mean, New York, Miami, LA. I don't know. I don't know. I've been out in Vegas when they're not on the same night, though, where there were big boxing matches Friday night and then the UFC on Saturday. But yeah, Vegas, man, it's entertainment central. Like you said, fight capital of the world. Got tons of shit going on. I'm not a pro wrestling fan. I've never watched pro wrestling ever in my entire life. In fact, I won tickets to go see a WWE thing off the radio. I called in and won 2 tickets. And I went over there and was shocked at how many people were there, for one. 2, they all had signs and their faces were all painted up, and they were into that shit. I mean, like, they were into it like it was legit. And here I was my whole life not knowing, and that opened up my eyes. Like, before that, I didn't even think the WWE was even big. I was shocked. Talk about, complete and utter culture shock when I walked in there. I was like, what the hell? And then I started kind of keeping up with it. I hosted a radio show for MMA Weekly years ago, and the host was a huge WWE fan. So I've been exposed to it, but I still have never watched a WWE pay-per-view.
Man, yeah, I used to be a fan. I guess Roman Reigns and John Cena is the main event, and Bobby Lashley and Goldberg is the co-main. Meanwhile, the UFC fight's underway. About
Bobby
4.5 minutes. Kakhramonov just stuffed a takedown attempt by Jones, and Jones actually had his leg up but couldn't get him down. So they're underway, and it's going.
Yeah, they're back. Yeah, they're back to their feet now. Clinched up along the cage, man. That's where he probably wants that fight, though.
Yeah, Jeff, man. Whenever look at what he's got choked. Look at this choke. He started it on the feet. He wrapped his legs around him and had this choke in a standing position, and then took him down by going backwards. Kakhramonov. Wow, that was interesting. Flips him over. Oh, he didn't get the finish. That would have been an incredible submission. They were on the feet, and he still got it.
I didn't see it. I'm at a different point. How much time do you have left?
He actually had his arm all the way around the top of his head from in front of him, all the way around from the back, but in front of him, and then fell backwards and took him down. But now the Trevin Jones is out of it. It would have been a 6 submission.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I got 315, 310. I'm at now. Where are you at?
Okay. Yeah, I'm at 240. So I'll just I didn't see it, man. Did he pull guard? I mean, if he pulled guard, he probably was just trying to guillotine him or something. I don't know.
He pulled guard, but it was a reverse. It wasn't a straight guillotine. It was a reverse. Let me see here. Yeah, so Kakhramonov and Jones. Jones had a 22-hour flight from Guam to get to this fight. He's had 6 names for this fight and finally found an opponent. Interesting. And then he gets Kakhramonov, who's making his debut. You got to love stories like that where they're almost, as you see Madsen and Guida on your screen there. Look at Madsen, just a killer. Lean and mean. Clay Guida, though, there's nothing he hasn't seen in there. I'm looking forward to that fight, man. We haven't talked about this fight yet. Madsen and Guida. Now, this is the biggest name Mark Madsen's fought, Jeff. Mark Madsen is a silver medalist in wrestling, right? 4-time medalist, 3 silver and 1 bronze at the World Wrestling Championships. So he's a career wrestler. He's 36 years old. He's got a pretty small window in the UFC. And you think about this, he only started in the UFC 2 fights ago, September 28th, 2019. He fought in March of last year at UFC 248. He beat Austin Hubbard, who just lost to Pinchel. So we just saw a Hubbard fight. But it's only his 3rd UFC fight. And he's 36 years old with title aspirations, which means he's got to pump that gas. And I mean, not pump the gas. He's got to slam that gas down as hard as he can and win fights quickly, violently, and impressively to have a chance to get that title shot in the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, I mean, he's got a good opportunity tonight. He's the co-main event on an ESPN fight card. He's undefeated, and he's taking on Clay Guida, who is an aging household name in the sport. I feel like he should look good against Clay Guida. Clay Guida's style is press forward, and it's sort of a wrestling-based style. Yes, he'll slug it out with you, but ultimately Guida tries to get to the fight to the ground. He's not going to have that opportunity tonight. So I feel like this is a perfect example of where organizations sometimes use an older that guy who's not I would say younger fighter, but he's 36 years old. But to give this guy a fast track, right? It's the co-main event now. He gets a win over Guida, and then the next fight they can give him somebody who's ranked and decently ranked. And if he gets past him, then he's right on his way, man. He is fast track to the top.
Man, I'll tell you what, it is exciting, though. I mean, he's right there with Guida, like you said. And, in that division, of course, it's jacked. I mean, that's the problem, is you're fighting in a division that's just so jammed up at the top at lightweight. I mean, that division is just absolutely stacked. And it's maybe the best division in the UFC. You could say 35, 70 is really top heavy. But at 155, you got Oliveira. And who the hell knows what Poirier is going to do going back and forth with Nate Diaz now. Is he not going to fight for a title now again? I mean, can you blame the guy for taking Conor twice in a row and then Diaz? I mean, that's your retirement account right there. 3 fights, and then you go get the belt. I don't blame Poirier. But if Poirier goes and fights Diaz, and then you got Gaethje and Chandler coming up, Beneil Dariush is at number 3. What happens to that Gaethje Chandler fight? But I think we got somebody at the podium. I don't see anybody, but I hear someone at the podium right now from Las Vegas on MMA Weekly. If you can hear me, Scott, we don't see him. We just hear him. Is it Pantoja?
one possibility to
We'll
Oh,
get
let's
into
just
that
listen
lightweight
to
division.
Alexandre
revenge
Pantoja.
me. I'm come to destroy him. I make it 30-26, and I prove I'm bad, When he come to UFC, you see when Moreno's good, but I'm bad. And now he have a title, and he know I'm much better with when I fight with like 3 years ago,
So what about him? Have you noticed his improvement since your last fight? What have you noticed in him since then?
Sorry?
What have you noticed in Brandon that has improved since your last fight? Or has there been any improvement?
After my 2 victories, he come better, When I win him in tough, he come to UFC, make bonus, make good fights. And when he fight me in UFC,
Sounds good.
he's gone to UFC and he back like a champion. He proved he when he lost, he's coming better. But now I'm the next for the title, He know that. And I don't know, maybe he retired, I don't know why he mind, but he know me and he know my power with my hands, with my grappling. I think I'm most dangerous guy in that division, and everybody know.
How do you think this fight will go with him? Do you think it'll be much like your last fight, or will it maybe be a different kind of fight?
I just know I'm much better, I come to destroy, I not make the best show today. I know that. I feel that. Maybe people can see, but I know make my best show. I have some troubles in my camp and personal problems, and I really have that victory because there's a trouble camp, and I can win it like that, with a good guy. And if I have time for recover and still train like I train, because I'm training so hard every day, all my partners know that. All my partners in the gym know how I train so hard. When I train is 100%, I never go easy. And when I say that, because I know how good I am, and I want to show the world how good I am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you say you had some personal hardships, did you have to overcome an injury in training camp?
Yeah, I have injury on 1 month before that fight. I talked with my coach, maybe cancel the fight, but I make my new life in USA. After COVID, I need to talk to my family, come back to Brazil because all the shows cancel. And when I back to USA again, I make a new begin. And after my fight with Manel in February, I can bring my family back to US. And I put a lot of money in my home, for my family come. And if I don't fight today, I have some problem with the money, And I have injury. I have problems, personal problems. My coaches go to hospital. I stay like 2 weeks in the hospital. This is make me scared too, because maybe he don't come to fight with me. But I look at my bank account. I say I need to fight, bro. Doesn't matter, win, lose. You need to fight. I'm a father. I have 2 kids. I have my wife, and when you father, you need to do everything, Mestre, eu posso falar o que eu falei com o senhor ali na foto? Claro. Do que eu estava dirigindo? Posso? Deixa eu falar. Pode. Então, I question something I can talk. Yeah, he say, yeah, you can talk. I'm tell that because a lot of people think just you live a dream, this all happy. No, man, this is a real life. I'm a father. Maybe you father too. I don't know. But this I talk all the father. If when you have kids, you need to take care of your kid, your family, you know. And I look to my money, and I see I need to do something. And last week, I'm fight to make 100 in Uber Eats, you know. I fight to make 100 with the cash, and today I fight to make 100,000, you know. And you need to follow your dream, you know. Never give up. You need to follow your dream. You need to, you know, be a man, bro. You know, I don't have a good father, you know, and I want to be. I want to be the best guy in the world. You know, prove to my family, to my kids. I do everything to my family, you know.
So were you able to bring them over, or was it dependent on this? Did you need the money from this fight to help bring them over?
No, he come over. My family still with me in Florida. But if I don't fight, I say for you, I have a trouble to pay my bills, you know. I have bills. I'm a father. I'm the head house, you know. And I talk to the God and say thank you for come to fight. I have a little problem to cut weight because I need this. I have flu, and that weekend, and I needed some medicine to make it better. And it's dangerous for cut weight when you have some medicine in your blood. And when I can make 126 pounds, I say thank you, God. I can fight, you know. I can go to the fight, take my money, win or lose, doesn't matter. I have money to pay my bills, you know. And I'm so happy, you know.
When you have those things on your shoulder, when you have all those pressures, because you know you have family, and I think it was maybe in the round one when he was trying to go for ankle locks and different other things, does that stuff stick in the back of your head that you won't ever quit because you know what you have to fight for outside of the cage?
I think in talk with Rival, and I look to Rival, and something passed. Okay. Something passed in my head, and I think say something to Rival, but forget that. But no, it's when I go fight, for me it's a victory, you know. When I lose, it's a victory. I have money for pay my bills, my kids go to school, you know. But I'm a fighter, bro. I make my debut for 14 years ago. I'm an old school guy. I have 31. I'm a young, but I'm an old school guy, you know. I'm fighting favelas in Brazil, and now I'm a UFC fighter, you know. I have when I give them to Bruno Rival to fight with me, I'm super happy. I can fight with the best fighter in the world, you know. I love my job. I love fight for UFC. This is an amazing company. I tell that because I know everybody work to UFC like it. You know, I see all the people happy here, you know. This is good for me too, you know. I see some guys work here a long time. Rumble, I work with the Rumble. Maybe you guys know Rumble. I work with the Rumble in Tough, and I see with him, and every time he's happy. He's a good guy, and I love my job, bro.
When I was there was an interview earlier today where Dana White was saying that pretty much this was a title eliminator. Whoever was going to get this was going to fight for the title. Did you already feel that, or did you already have that understanding, or did you come into this fight thinking that if you win this fight, you're going to get the title shot next?
I don't see that interview, but definitely I know I'm on the contenders to title. You know, it's my 11th fight in UFC. I have 2 knockouts, 3 submissions, some bonus, and I think I'm good. I'm good guy for UFC. You know, I'm a good fighter. Definitely, I'm a good fighter, and I'm a better year after year, and I have 31. You know, and definitely I think this is my moment now. And if you Dana White think this is a good possibility, I'm open. I know I need to work more with my media social and a lot of the shit, but I tell you, man, I'm a father. I have 2 kids in my home. I want to pass something with my family. I pass a lot of time with my kids, you know. sometimes I don't have a head or time to record everything, you know. I like to pass some time with just my kids, live my life, you know, the real life. But if you like to good fight, just call me.
Sounds great. Congrats on this win and best of luck on what sounds like a title shot next.
This sound good. Thank you.
Pantoja, tudo bom?
Fala, meu bichão.
Cara, queria saber primeiro qual foi o gameplay, né? Qual foi a estratégia?
All right, let's cut that before we go into foreign languages here, man. He just it's almost listen to it any money. I mean, that's my first reaction. Just all right, dude, we get it. You know, first of all, but a great win for Pantoja, Jeff. And when I think about it, we got some hissing in the background there. I don't know what that is, guys, but there it goes. Okay, so we have Pantoja, Jeff, and Dana had said this: the winner of this would get a title shot. He has a win over Brandon Moreno, but as you pointed out when we talked about the rankings, he has losses to both Askarov and Figueiredo, and they were both unanimous decision losses where he was thoroughly outclassed. So how on God's green earth does this guy get a title shot? I understand Figueiredo not getting another one and needing another win first, but how do you jump Askarov if you're Pantoja? Because he has the win over Moreno, but when you think about it, I mean, Askarov just unanimous decision in July of last year on Fight Island on the Figueiredo Benavidez 2 card, and his win over Moreno was 3 years ago. I don't understand that logic there. I don't get it.
The UFC's not having good contract negotiations with Askarov or something, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, not with Askarov's record, it doesn't. You know that he's clearly the number one contender. If you're not going to go the Figueiredo route, Figueiredo's off the table, then Askarov's number one contender no matter what happened tonight. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that there's something maybe going on behind the scenes, or that we aren't privy to, why that was considered the number one contender fight, or Dana White was just talking in an interview and wanted to make the fight sound a lot more interesting and said it was a pro title.
There you go, Dana. Dana's a promoter. Everyone seems to forget the fact that Dana White is a promoter. I mean, I'm always amazed when people are amazed at anything Dana says about a fight, because he's a promoter, man. He's a promoter. I mean, come on, guys.
Well, I mean, if you listen real close to the UFC for the rest of this year, there will be 9 different GOATs and 14 or 15 different greatest of all time. So just you got to take it with the greatest thought. You know, it's just promoting a fight. Now, I don't know. Like I said, there could be something going on behind the scenes where Askarov and the UFC aren't close to terms or something. Or maybe he's taking some time off because he has something going on in his life. I don't know. Or I'm more likely, I'm more inclined to think that Dana White was given an interview about this event.
Right.
Was asked about the fight, and he said that's
a good point.
Fight, and so I think you can't read too much into that stuff. You just can't. You can't hold. Dana's out there promoting, trying to sell this fight during event week, and he said some shit. Now that doesn't mean that he won't get a title fight. I thought it was interesting that he's 31 years old and has been fighting since 2007. I mean, wow. So I don't know if the UFC gives him a title fight or not. He's there. He's knocking on the door. But I agree with your assessment. Askarov has to have it before him.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, that's at least what I'm thinking. But, man, I'm excited. We're getting closer to that main event, and we got the Coco main coming up with Chase Sherman and Parker Porter. Now, Chase Sherman, 31 years old, a former bare-knuckle boxer. So, and he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So, he's a bare-knuckle boxer. So, that's pretty cool whenever you get a guy who's that good of a striker and that tough of a dude taking on Parker Porter. And Parker Porter from my home state of Connecticut at 36 years of age. And, there's a guy who's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, a well-rounded athlete. But, again, guys without the biggest household names, Jeff, getting an opportunity on ESPN. And Porter lost to Chris Daukaus a couple of fights ago. Daukaus has made a nice little run recently in the heavyweight division. But this is your obligatory heavyweight throwdown. That's why it's the Coco main.
Exactly.
And if you think about, you have Sherman, who just got beaten. He's the one guy who actually got beat by Andrei Arlovsky in the long line of people that they send through Arlovsky before they can actually fight the bigger names now in the gatekeeper role. But Arlovsky actually beat him. So that's interesting. And that was in April of this year. So, I mean, it's a heavyweight fight, and there's a chance for a knockout anyway. And I hate to I would sound like Jeff Cain. This is your obligatory heavyweight fight. They just want a knockout. That's why it's on this part of the card, but that's why it's placed in this part of the card.
It literally is, and watch. There will be a knockout. It'll be the first knockout on the main card. They were smart. This is an ESPN fight card. You've got to put a heavyweight fight on there and one that kind of leans towards a striking affair. That's just smart matchmaking and knowing your audience on ESPN. But yes, this is your heavyweight fight that they threw on here because they wanted a heavyweight fight, and it's probably going to end in a knockout because it's a heavyweight fight, and we're all going to go, oh, and then we're going to get into the co-main and main.
Saeed Yakub Kakramanov just picked up a victory over Trevin Jones by technical submission with a guillotine choke in round number 3. So we're getting ready for the co-main. Someone's probably going to go to sleep. 2 heavyweights getting in there, throwing down. And I mean, look, when a guy comes from bare knuckle boxing, he's got a chin. That's one thing about Chase Sherman. But I mean, this is going to be pretty interesting, Jeff. And the UFC's got a promo up right now for the pay-per-view coming up at the end of September. And I'm going to be doing an event that night. I can't wait for our show that night, Jeff. When you got Volkanovski and Ortega, and they just wrapped that season of Tough, I'm finally going to watch it. I have not watched it yet. Don't spoil it for me. I am a complete TV snob, and I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, this is why. Because when I was a kid and I grew up watching my favorite TV shows, you had to wait every week for the new episode. There's a holiday, they're off for 3 weeks. Christmas, 4 weeks without a show. New Year's, whenever there's sweeps are coming up, and there's not a lot of, the way that network TV used to be, there's certain times of the year called the sweeps when they measured the ratings, and all the good shows would be on then, but then you'd take a 4-week break from it, and then in the end of the season in May, there'd be a cliffhanger, and it wouldn't be on again until freaking October or November. I now wait for shows to be completely done, and I binge watch. I'm a complete binge watching snob. That's the only way I watch shows now. So now I'm going to binge watch Tough, but we got Volko and Ortega. I don't know how many of those you watched, judging by your writing on MMA Weekly. It was all of them, but on MMAWeekly.com. Valentina Shevchenko and Lauren Murphy is a tough girl. I mean, a very, very tough girl. So I'm looking forward to that one, and we know Valentina's a legend. Nick Diaz comes back after not being around forever to take on Robbie Lawler in a rematch from years and years ago when Robbie had hair. Curtis Blades and Jairzinho Rosenstruik is the 4th fight down on the card, and the other fight on the main card is Jessica Andrade, a former champion, against Cynthia Calvillo. That card is jacked loaded, man. I cannot wait for UFC 266.
It's a pretty good fight card, man. Yeah, that's a pretty good fight card. There's a lot of really meaningful and title fights on there, and so and then the throwback, Diaz and Lawler is just a throwback, a fun fight. That's just for the fans, right? That fight doesn't mean really anything. Except it gets Nick Diaz back in the octagon. But who doesn't want to see that, right? I was at the first one, and that was crazy. They were both like 21 years old, and at the time, that was Nick Diaz's coming out party. It was just this guy from Stockton, right? Talked a lot of shit. Who was going to come in here? Robbie Lawler was the one everybody was talking about. He was finishing people and doing so in brutal fashion. He trained out of Team Milicic at the time. You had Matt Hughes and Tim Sylvia, 2 UFC champions, and then Jens Pulver was the first lightweight champion. So they had that champ was producing all these champions. That camp was, and everybody was talking about Robbie Lawler, and then Nick Diaz, boom, that was it. Walked right into it. He just timber. You heard a pin drop inside the Mandalay Bay Event Center that night, man. Everybody was like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Nick Diaz. Think about this, Jeff.
Anybody in the chat can give me, and you got like 10 seconds, like 20 seconds. You're not going to look this up. It was, think it's absurdly long ago. It was so freaking long ago, dude. Anybody in the chat can throw up the date real quick. What year it was even. I'd be really impressed.
I can tell you the date.
It was a long time ago, man.
It was April, ahead, and then Yeah, it was April. I'll just I'll let them. I know when it was.
I don't think
Because of
anybody's
what
going to
had-
get it.
Yeah, it had a
You got
huge
20 seconds in the
rivalry
chat.
headlining fight at the main event of that fight card was a huge fight at the time. Probably the biggest fight in UFC history at the time.
I mean, that's saying a lot, but I can't argue with it, man. And you had Robbie Lawler, who had, I mean, he'd already been in the UFC for 5 fights before he fought Nick, and was killing people. That was when he trained with Militech, right? When he first came in, and he had hair. Robbie, this is a long time ago, and I know Robbie can't wait to get back in there. But I'm trying to think about Nick Diaz. I mean, it's literally. I mean, how many fights into the career of Diaz was?
I do not know. I'd have to.
And nobody got it to April 2nd, 2004, Jeff. I know you know that.
Yeah.
I
don't know how long it was.
Yeah,
I don't know when Nick.
As in 17 years ago. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't remember when Nick made his UFC debut or what. Or I don't remember.
It was his second one. It was his second UFC fight. He had the rematch with Jeremy Jackson that they fought in IFC. Came into the UFC. He had a bunch of UFC fights. Then he went to ICFO, Pride, Elite XC. I mean, just crazy. Strikeforce, Dream 3, Lightweight Grand Prix. I mean, he's literally fought everywhere but Bellator, Nick.
Give him time.
Give him time.
Yeah,
Give
man.
him
I mean,
time.
Nick's always been one of those people who wasn't about the promotion. He was kind of the show himself in a way. I mean, those fights, like the KJ Noons fight in Elite XC, that was a huge fight. The Takanori Gomi fight in Pride 33, holy shit!
Yeah.
Was that crazy? But yeah, at the time when he fought Robbie Lawler, like I said, everybody was talking about Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler was hurting people, and he looked so good, and they're both the same age, basically. And so at the time, you had these two young guns coming into the UFC, and there was a lot of hype around the fight. But the hype was that Diaz was going to stand and trade with Robbie Lawler. No one thought he was going to win. Yeah, no one thought he was going to win.
Him out.
Yeah, literally, that's what everybody was talking about, is that Nick will stand with him. And so I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to go well for Nick, because nobody really knew who Nick was. I mean, we did, but we didn't know that damn much about him. And then, that night, everybody knew. That was where Nick Diaz became a star that night. And then, of course, the Joe Riggs fight in the aftermath at the hospital. That didn't hurt either.
Oh, Joe Riggs. Yeah, I mean, this guy's fought everyone. He's fought Tim Kennedy, for God's sake, and Jacare. Yeah. And, I mean, you just think about everybody.
Frank
and Robbie
Shamrock.
Lawler I'm talking about here. And Frank Trigg, Robbie Lawler, and Rory McDonald. Now, it's literally 7 years since those fights against Hendricks and McDonald, the Rory McDonald fight. And that doesn't seem possible that it was 7 years ago that Robbie fought Rory McDonald. Actually, the last one was 6 years ago. But you look at Robbie Lawler right now. This might be the last time we see him in the octagon. Very good chance it will be, Jeff. He's lost 5 out of his last 6 to Woodley, RDA, Colby Covington, Neil Magny, and yes, he is the only UFC fighter to have lost to Ben Askren. I know he doesn't like that. And he had that fight won early on, and I still don't know if it was a legit stoppage, but he is the only UFC fighter who lost to Funky Ben Askren. But Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz, I like this fight. It's not quite a Bellator fight where they had like Hoyce and Shamrock when they're 60 years old. It's not quite that, but it is. It's one of those ones for the fans, man. It's one of those ones where people who have been longtime fans of this sport, with so many of the Johnny-come-latelys, and we're not knocking you, I love you. I want as many fans as we can have in the sport. But for the OG fans who have been around since before the Ultimate Fighter show even, and that's not a lot of us, Jeff, you know that, this is for you.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember the fan base before the Ultimate Fighter. And, no, it's just a throwback fight. I mean, I'm not going to knock Bellator on what they do. I mean, the UFC did bring in Hoyce to fight, Matt Hughes. This is just a nostalgic fight, right? I mean, it's two guys that are nostalgic. Robbie Lawler's at the end of his career. We all know that. Nick Diaz, we don't know where the hell he is. He might come out here looking like the best fighter in the world, and he might come out here looking like he hasn't fought in several years. We don't know, but because the matchup is against those two guys, two OGs, like you said, hardcore OGs. You know, they'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. That's you know, when those two guys say that, they mean it.
Well, yep. And the one thing I would say, Jeff, and tell me what you think about this. I would say, and I don't know if we have somebody else at the podium, but the one thing I would say is that his brother's had a lot of big fights recently, and Nick's been training with him as he's gotten ready for them. So that's something that, you know, I want to get your thoughts on that after we go to the podium. And this is Vince Pichel with a unanimous decision win over Austin Hubbard. Second fight on the main card. He's on the podium now in Vegas at the Apex here on MMA.
So I was ready for that, but yeah, he did a really good job of stopping me when I was trying to finish him.
And there was an eye poke, I believe, the first round. How much does that really affect a fighter? I mean, obviously, we all know that that's going to hurt, but in a fight, I mean, it throws off your rhythm. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, I mean, he eye poked me a little bit, but that didn't really bother me. It was more because when he did it, the grease went in my eye. I got Vaseline in my eye, which kind of like made my vision blurry. So that was kind of the major thing was the Vaseline was in my eye. So that was the problem. As soon as I got it out with my gloves, though, then I was okay. So it wasn't too big, but I mean, getting poked in the eye sucks when you're fighting, man. Like it just sucks.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, but I don't want it. I don't want to.
Accidents happen now.
When do you want to get back in there?
As soon as possible. I feel good right now. I'm a little sore. I'm sure going to be sore tomorrow and the next week or so, but I'm looking to get back as soon as possible. I want to keep this train rolling. I want this snowball of momentum just to keep going, and I want to take people out and climb myself up these ranks.
And do you have an opponent in mind?
Not really. I mean, I kind of do want to fight that Fish dude one more time and right that wrong, but not really, man. Whoever Sean Shelby gives me, I'm going to beat the hell out of, right? So that's just my job. I'm just going to be that pit bull that needs to be let off the leash every once in a while, so it doesn't really matter to me.
Thank you.
Is it true you're upset that Felder and John Anik didn't have a mustache?
Yeah, actually, it is true. I wasn't upset. I was just a little disappointed. I thought we were going to be mustache brothers, but they didn't get the memo, I guess.
That's disappointing. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was it? That's all you had?
They mentioned it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I was going to follow up with, you know, when you started having some exchanges out there, is it all heart that pulls through, or is it the stash that pulled you through some of those tough exchanges?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. That last 20 seconds was all heart, though. Like, I heard the coaches telling me 20 seconds, 25 seconds, so I was just like, okay, it's time to be a cowboy and start swinging. And that's what I did. So, yeah, a little bit of both, though.
Ultimately, is that the game plan? Is that what you wanted? Did you want to lure him into to kind of test whose chin was better, or what was the initial game plan for him coming in?
Well, I mean, I had a really strong feeling I knew my chin was better. He didn't really rock me in the fight, but I know I rocked him a couple times. But I kind of wanted to, lure him into a little bit of brawl, because I know he's kind of he likes to come in head first and brawl sometimes. So I was kind of hoping for that, right, so I can catch him. But he played it really smart and was really good with the distance. I knew he was going to be a little slower than me, and I didn't know how he was going to be strength-wise, because a bunch of people told me he was like doing a lot of strength conditioning, because I know a lot of people know how strong I am, but I got that kind of strength you really can't prepare for. It's like kind of too late when you realize how strong I actually am. So I was just expecting that brawl out of him, right? And he played it really smart and kind of stayed on the outside a little bit.
And when you did, is it one of those things where you hit a guy with everything you got and he doesn't go down? Is there a moment where you're like, shoot, I thought that was going to take him? And on the flip side, are you like, wow, good on you for taking that? I mean, did he earn your, not admiration, but did he earn your respect a little bit with him taking the shots that he did?
Yeah, I did, because I hit him pretty good a couple times. I was swinging hard on there, but I wasn't swinging like brutally hard, right? I wasn't trying to kill the kid, because I didn't want to blow my wad out. But I hit him good a couple times, and he kind of ate him, right? Like, I rocked him on a shot that I didn't think I should have rocked him, and then shots where I hit him and I was like, oh, I know that hurt, and then I know that would have hurt, right? But then he just kind of ate it, so I was kind of like, I don't know, I was a little confused, honestly, at the ones that were rocking him, because I think the one that I rocked him and really knocked him back wasn't even a punch. I kind of hit him with my forearm. So I was I was a little surprised, honestly. I was a little surprised.
And I can't quite tell. Did you get a couple stitches up here in the eye?
I got a couple stitches. I think he elbowed me one time when he took me down. He landed an elbow, so I think that's what I got it from. I'm not sure, though. It could have been a headbutt, too, because we clanked heads a couple times.
And then, I mean, we're getting near the end of the year, but you're going to hope to try to get back in one more time this year? And what sort of goals are you setting for next year?
Yeah, if I can. My goals are always the same, just crush dreams so I can live mine, you know what I mean? But if I can get one by the end of the year, if I'm healthy and I can fight again by the end of the year or early next year, I'm down. I want it.
Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Vince Pichel beats Austin Hubbard to the media. Pretty strong. I'll give him that. I'm not one for the stash without the beard, but he does pull it off pretty well, and it is a legit stash.
Not everybody can pull that off, man. That is a legit stash, man, straight out of the 70s. It's pretty impressive, man. I don't like mustaches either, but he rocked his pretty well.
I saw him on the floor last season. He slumped back.
Man, I'll tell you what. We got the background of the media room. It's a lively place tonight at the Apex. There we go. Our own Scott Peterson is on site with MMA Weekly. I love the little, it's like the Bozo the Clown horn. And, my daughter's actually deathly afraid of clowns and balloons. That just popped into my head. Deathly afraid of clowns and popping balloons.
I'm not a big fan of, I'm old. I'm an adult. So I know a clown is a clown, but whenever I was a kid, I didn't like clowns. I wasn't really scared of them. I just didn't trust the damn things, What's behind that makeup, you little freak? And that big red hair and the nose. I didn't like it. I didn't like clowns at the circus and stuff. I was like, what's he hiding? Anyway. And then they all fit in their little damn car, all them clowns in a little damn car. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of clowns either, Jim.
No, and I don't like, what I don't like with balloons? I can never get a balloon animal made because the sound that the balloon makes when you got your hands going all over it, they're squeaky, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah, I don't like nails on a chalkboard, but now that you put that in my head, I'm not going to like balloon animals now. Damn it.
You're not going to like balloon animal. I'm sorry. I don't mean to ruin it. No more whippets for Jeff.
Damn it. No more whippets. No more nitrous balloons.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
we're just going down the rat hole fast here on the show, Jeff.
Yeah, well, that heavyweight fight got out of the first round. Round. But see, here's where we.
Oh wow, you're out of the first round. I still have 110 left in the first round. I'm way behind you, man.
Hold on.
I gotta close.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close this out and pull it back up again. No, I'm still at the 1 minute mark.
Okay, it made it out of the first round, but like I said, here's the time in the heavyweight fights that things become dangerous because one of them will typically gas, which will lead to him leaving his chin up in the air and get knocked out. So I wouldn't blink this round. It's been a pretty decent fight. They've been pretty much standing in front of each other and slugging it out. But no one's rattled the other one yet.
Yeah, I'm just at the beginning of round 2, and I do have closed captioning, which is pretty cool. And we still have Vince's name. And Jeff, you got to help me tonight, by the way. We got the co-main event coming up after this one, and then the main event. I'm otherwise known as pressure time for me. This is where I really earn my money because doing the shows, it's great. I get all day long, but I actually have to give Scott the time. Scott starts the timer, so I have to let him know live on the air when the round starts, and I blew 3 of the 5 rounds our last show. I mean, literally 3 of the 5 rounds, I screwed the pooch completely and left him hanging, no man's land.
Yeah, well, I'll remind you of it tonight. I'll remind you because we'll go on your clock rather than mine. I think.
Oh yeah, because you're watching on TV, right? So you're watching live on TV. I don't have cable here. I'm a cord cutter.
Yeah,
I have Netflix. I have ESPN app. That's what I have, Jeff. And I'm actually watching on my phone off the Wi-Fi, so I don't mess up the Wi-Fi and my signal here. I can't wait. I have news coming soon. I'll be moving into a new studio, and I'll actually have better internet, so I won't have to worry about these things, and I can run 400 things at once because it is the 21st century. But looking at this fight, man, Sherman's got a big height advantage and a big reach advantage over Parker Porter. And you see Kelvin Gastelum on your screen. He's got a big height disadvantage and reach disadvantage in almost every fight, but against Cannonier in particular. And the fighters who have beaten Kelvin, some of these guys are legitimately some of the biggest. And like Weidman was so big and so much longer than him. Hermanson, another one. Darren Till, tall and lean. I mean, those are the guys that have given him trouble, man. Although he looked really good against Izzy, I'll say that.
Yeah, he had a good game plan against Izzy. He didn't give him the space that he needed to do what Izzy does. And it was smart of guys. Some constant pressure. And Kelvin has a chin. That's one of his best things that he has. He could stand in there in the pocket and exchange and eat a couple of shots and still land that big bomb. I agree with you, man. I think he's a welterweight. And I think eventually, before the end of his career, we will see him there. But not right now. He had a little bit of trouble. I don't want to say trouble. He mistimed the weight by a quarter pound, right? And had to spend about 30 extra minutes to get off that 0.25 pounds on weigh-in day. Yeah, we'll see, man. Don't sleep on Kelvin. For those, Adesanya talked about this fight, and that's what he said, that you can't sleep on Kelvin. Kelvin's a gamer, and he doesn't go away. And so you have to kind of dig deep in those later rounds because he's coming. And you get him with everything, And
it's a 6-inch, though, a 6-inch reach advantage for a guy who's only a couple of inches taller. That's crazy. Not really that common to be that close in height and have that much of a reach discrepancy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Cannonier can use that reach advantage. He does have good striking. And so is he going to be able to, work that jab, keep Kelvin on the outside and move away from Kelvin and, prevent Kelvin from walking him down? And then the kicks, I think that's going to be an interesting aspect of the fight because Cannonier has great kicks, but this might be a fight where he doesn't get to use them a lot because Kelvin, I think Kelvin's best chances, is to be a wrestler in this fight. I'm not saying he can't win striking. I just think that he has an advantage on the ground. And so I feel like at some point Kelvin's going to try to get to the clinch, press him against the cage, pull him to the ground, and soften him up a little bit, if not finish from there. Cannonier has to make sure that doesn't happen. And so I don't know that he's going to throw a lot of leg kicks. So he wants to end those combinations on leg kicks whenever Kelvin's not ready to grab one. It's a great matchup, man. It's a great matchup. If Kelvin wasn't as tough as he is, I would pick Cannonier to win this fight. But I don't know because Kelvin's Kelvin, man. You can beat the shit out of the guy for 20 minutes and then boom, he wins.
He wins, yep, and literally that's happened a bunch of times in KG's career. He's a big-time gamer. He's got electric power in that left, but he's also a pretty damn good wrestler. Kelvin's strong in the clinch. He's a very strong, period, no matter what weight class he's fighting in. I still would love to have seen him at 170. This fight is really close. The first round was too close to call between Porter and Sherman. Porter took a little bit more control in round number 2. Sherman not really using the height and reach advantage the way that he should be with leg kicks, and there I go again criticizing a fighter. Shut up, Jim. But Porter and Sherman right now with 5 seconds remaining in round number 2, they're starting to look like a couple of heavyweights who are, dragging this fight out way longer than anybody really wants it to go because everyone wants the early knockout. And you know how when 2 heavyweights just get super tired and they're throwing punches that don't have a whole hell of a lot on them anymore, and they're just kind of stumbling around like a couple of drunks in a bar? We're at that stage of this fight now.
Yes, we're entering the 3rd round, and yeah, they're just standing in front of each other throwing punches, but there's no snap on anything right now. They're both exhausted.
No snap. There you go, Jeff. No snap.
Yeah, no snap, which gets us back to Kelvin, because that's the thing that Adesanya said about Kelvin is when you watch his tapes of him striking, he looks like he overextends. He leans out with that left hand, but what Adesanya says is that he hits you at the end of it, right at the end of it. It's a snap. And that's where all the power is generated. He says that Kelvin's kind of unique in that if you look at it, you think he's overextending, and he's not really. That's just the way he throws that punch. I think it's because he's at a reach disadvantage a lot, and so he's just perfected kind of an overextended knockout punch. It's fascinating to watch, though. I really like when Izzy breaks down the fights, man. He goes into detail, pauses video and just breaks down exactly what's going on. And because he's been in there with Kelvin, I thought his breakdown for this particular fight was really impressive.
Now I'm pissed I didn't watch it. What else did he say? Because Izzy's breakdowns are great. I think I really love Matt Hardy's breakdowns. Certain fighters, you just love the way they break down a fight. And Izzy's definitely one of them. Not that he's anywhere close to being done fighting, but he's got a great future ahead of him as an analyst. I think he's really that good.
Yeah, he's analytical in his approach to it. And he puts himself in that position. If I'm Kelvin and I have Kelvin's skill set, what do I need to do to beat Jared Cannonier? And then he breaks it down and lays it out. He's got to close the distance. He's got to keep the pressure on him, constant pressure. And then
Cannonier doesn't like a fast-paced fight, right? Yeah.
Nope. And Cannonier has to, work his reach advantage, avoid the clinch situations, avoid the ground, and eventually work in the leg kicks. But you gotta worry about doing that early in the fight, and then don't let Kelvin take you down early when you're all dry and everybody's fresh. When you're slippery later in the fight, it's a lot less dangerous. At least getting submitted on the ground. But yeah, that's basically in a nutshell what he was saying about it. He doesn't pick a winner of the fights. He just breaks it down on what you can expect to see. But he did point out, that the reach advantage is going to be a big factor. He thinks so, but that's also coming from a striking perspective, right? Where like if you got Cormier's breakdown on it, he may not put so much emphasis on that reach advantage. It's just that Izzy knows that if he has that reach advantage, he's going to really hurt somebody with it,
No, I mean, Cannonier's probably physically stronger than anyone Kelvin's fought in a long time outside of Chris Weidman. Because just the physical strength of Cannonier. Usually Kelvin's the stronger guy. I don't know if he's the stronger guy. And you got a guy who fought a heavyweight and light heavyweight. The Killer Gorilla is just brutally. I mean, those leg kicks, what he did to Silva. But I just don't know. I mean, Kelvin, you talk about hitting on the end of the punches. That's something Amanda Nunes has perfected. You don't think she can reach you, and all of a sudden she's barely touching you from distance, but it's turning your lights out. And when I really first got, I mean, I've known Kelvin forever, but when I really, became impressed with him in the UFC, the Vitor fight was one thing, and Vitor was I don't want to call Vitor a shot fighter. I don't think that's fair. So when he fought Vitor, that was back in 2017, but Vitor was not the same Vitor. It was Johnny Hendricks at UFC 200, and Johnny was in a bit of a slide. But Kelvin had lost to Woodley, lost to Magny, in between with a win over Nate Marquardt. Kelvin hadn't really, and he had beaten Jake Ellenberger, but again, Ellenberger and Rick Story, at that point in time, these guys weren't at the peak of their careers, to say the least. Well, the way he fought against Woodley was fantastic. Split decision, and that was at a catchweight, 180. Kelvin missed weight at welterweight. He missed weight on the first Madison Square Garden card against Cowboy. Couldn't make weight to fight at welterweight. But the fight that really impressed me, first of all, Johnny Hendricks at UFC 200. He whipped Johnny Hendricks all over the octagon, the yellow octagon at UFC 200. And then what he did to Tim Kennedy. What he did to Tim Kennedy was when I first said, holy shit, Kelvin's a beast in any division. He just totally ripped apart Tim Kennedy on the feet. And then what he did to Bisping, and Bisping had just come off the GSP loss. He destroyed Michael Bisping, a former champion, and not an easy thing to do. And then he beat Jacare in Brazil in a fight that he was losing. So he showed his heart in that fight. And against Izzy, he could have won that fight in the fourth round. He got a little tired, maybe didn't finish it on the feet, went in for a takedown the one time he did, and it didn't work out. But he was very close to being the interim champ. But he's had different types of performances in different fights, whether it be the power to finish guys, the wherewithal to eke out a decision when he's losing a fight in Brazil with Brazilian judges to Jacare, which is really amazing. But then you've seen him in certain fights where he hasn't looked so great, like Weidman and Darren Till, and those are just matchup things. Then he had the losing streak. Things got in his head maybe a little bit. But on any given night against anybody in that division, if you sleep on Kelvin, you'll be going to sleep. There's no doubt about it. What Cannonier's got to do, and it's interesting to me to think about Cannonier in this fight, because I've seen people saying Cannonier has the momentum. He has the momentum. And that's just people looking at the rankings and nothing else. Because when you look at Jared Cannonier, this guy, I mean, he literally lost to Whitaker in October of 2020, but he broke his arm and had the broken orbital bone. So I don't see where Cannonier has momentum. I don't think either fighter has momentum when they're both coming off a loss.
Yeah, and I don't think that factors into a fight. Momentum, confidence. I mean, if that's what they mean by that somebody's coming into this fight super confident. Confidence absolutely can have a huge role in a fight. I don't know, man. I don't feel like either of them have that advantage heading into this fight. I feel like Kelvin took this fight on short notice. Cannonier knows that he has to win. And he needs to kind of be impressive if he wants a title fight. And then, so I don't feel like either one of these guys. If I'm going to break it down, I want to see how Kelvin's going to deal with the reach advantage, and if he even has to. Is Cannonier going to set up that jab and establish that jab early to where Kelvin's going to have to deal with make an adjustment for the reach? Or is he not going to and got to stand in boxing range where Kelvin is extremely dangerous? And so I don't know how each one of them are going to approach this fight. This is a compelling fight.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
It's
funny
a
that you
great
brought up
fight.
Johnny Hendricks. Yeah, because I think that Kelvin and Johnny Hendricks, when Johnny was in
Big
his
rig.
prime, are
Yep.
similar fighters. Big, heavy chins, pressure, big knockout power, usually having to fight their way to get to the inside.
Johnny, a better wrestler, the Oklahoma State Cowboy.
Yeah, Johnny, a better wrestler, but he didn't use it. You know what I
Not
mean?
much.
He
Not
didn't use it.
no. He was just throwing bombs. You're right, and they're lefty too. They're both lefty.
Yeah, and so they just remind me of each other. And maybe it's a Texas thing. I don't know. But Kelvin has longevity where Johnny Hendricks didn't. And I think that Kelvin is mentally stronger than Johnny Hendricks was, although Johnny made it to the championship. I feel like Johnny crumbled after that. Was never the same after he lost the belt. Maybe never the same after they didn't give him the win over GSP that he won. He won that fight. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was a big one. The thing
Yeah,
about
maybe he was
Cannonier,
never the
though, Jeff,
same.
never the same. But the thing about Cannonier, and everybody talks about, he had a meteoric rise through the rankings at 185. His first fight at 85 was in November of 2018. He had lost 2 out of 3 at light heavyweight, or rather 3 out of 4 to Glover, Jan Blachowicz, and Dominic Reyes. That's a murderer's row at 205. He comes to 185, and he just obliterates David Branch, Anderson Silva, and Jack Hermanson. All TKOs, 2 from punches, 1 from leg kicks, the Silva fight. And he won those 3 fights in such, just scintillating and sensational fashion that he got the shot against Whitaker. So he benefited from those finishes and maybe benefited from the division and things falling his way to move up that quickly to the point where he was 1 fight away from a title fight. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was Whitaker's first fight after he lost to Izzy and got knocked out in his home country and took some time off. It was... No, he beat Till first. It was Till, then Cannonier. So much for that. But it was Cannonier. It was all about those TKOs back to back to back that got him in a position to fight a guy like Whitaker. Look at those 2 heavyweights. They just went the distance. Can you believe those 2 guys just went the distance? Props to them. Good job on Sherman and Porter's part. And it was Parker Porter who picks up the win.
Yeah, it was hard to watch the 3rd round, man. It was like it was taking place in water, right? They were slow. Everything was slow.
You ever try to punch someone underwater? That's a good analogy, Jeff. Yeah, this is not going to work so well.
Man. It was a good fight in the 1st round and even most of the 2nd till the end. And then that 3rd round, it was just both fighters were exhausted and it got to be sloppy. But still a big win. Now we get to go to the co-main event, a fight that everybody knows who's in that one, and a fight that we expect to be exciting because even when Clay Guida loses, they're exciting fights, right? But yeah, the heavyweights, I can't believe that went the distance either, and they landed big shots. Both of them landed bombs, and so that was just a testament to each other's chins.
Jeff, I have a problem right now. You may see me looking around like a lunatic here. Where is he? There's a mosquito that snuck into my studio here, and I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm in trouble. They love me anyway, but if you're wearing red, mosquitoes obviously feed on blood. So when you see red or the mosquito sees a red shirt, this dude's going to bite me. So I'm just kind of like bugging out, no pun intended here, as this mosquito swarms around me. And you can never get that one mosquito, man. So I'm just, if you see me start looking like I'm having a Tourette's attack, that's what I'm doing.
It's a mosquito, man. They're attracted to certain blood types. My wife and I'll sit out back and she gets bit and I don't have anything on. I don't know. Of course, I'm O negative blood, and it's the.
I think I am
blood.
too.
It's the rarest blood. I'm a universal donor.
What's the blood that? Is it the COVID blood? The one that's best for us to have that kind of blood with COVID? Is it? I don't know if I'm O, but I don't know if I'm O negative or O positive. I don't know.
O negative. I can only receive O negative blood, but everyone in the world can receive my blood, and so it's a. I don't know if it's the. Yeah.
You're a giver of life, Jeff.
When I go down there, I tell them my blood's worth more, and we argue when I donate blood.
You actually try to negotiate more for your blood. I love it. That's great.
Yeah, well, if you can give my blood to everybody, that person sitting next to me, I can't get their blood, so mine's worth more. Well, mine's the gold standard, You can go.
That's
with
what I tell them at the
light.
sperm clinic.
Exactly. See, that's what I said.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't resist.
They won't. Yeah, they won't pay me more. They won't pay me more for it. But that's what I tell them. I'm like, mine's the gold standard, right? We're having some craft beer, and over there's Natty Light. So you can go ahead and try to act like they're worth the same. They are not worth the same.
Do they ever give you more? Does it work?
No,
Oh,
they do
man.
not. No, they do not. But it's kind of weird because I have a network because I've had several surgeries, and so I have people in case I'm in a car crash or something. They have to have O negative blood on hand, and if they don't, I have 4 people. I'm a part of a group where if they are in a car crash, I got to show up to where we all donate our blood to each other if we need to. Because it's pretty rare. O negative's not. I think it's
You got to think about these things in advance. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and they never have O negative blood because when you get in a pinch, that's what the doctors go to. You can't fuck that up.
No, wait. What if you were anemic? You're not anemic, are you?
No.
If you were anemic, you'd be screwed.
Yeah, I don't know what happens.
I have a friend. My friend Kim. She bleeds like if she scratches herself, she'll like bleed out. Like this girl cannot. Wow. She goes through life. She can't cut her. She can't even cut herself shaving. She's in the hospital if she cuts herself shaving. Can you imagine if that was you and they never have O negative anywhere you go?
Well, whenever I had when I had the hip replacement the first time, they put me on a bunch of blood thinners and it was that way. That they didn't let me shave. I couldn't shave for 6 weeks. I looked like the Unabomber. Well. That's kind of. I mean, people would. That's
good old Ted, or like Clay Guida, one or the other. I love the way Clay Guida his burps in between rounds in the corner. There's a video that's making its way around social media this week. That's just burp after burp after burp from Guida. I don't know if you saw that. Pretty funny.
Yeah, and that's not good. Yeah, it's not good to have indigestion during a fight, man, and heartburn and stuff. But apparently he's just used to it. It's just something that happens with him. Yeah, it's weird to see him burp on the stool.
Look at him right there. And I have to stop you for 1 second, Jeff, because Bruno, if we can just throw this comment up from Bruno and let Jeff read it. Scott, you see that there? This is going to make Jeff's night. I said it at the beginning of the show. Where is it? You see it? Bruno with a big O, with a capital O.
Thank you, Bruno.
Capital B, capital O. Bruno says, Jeff Cain, you have beautiful hair.
And you want to know what's funny, Bruno? Is my older brother. I don't know if y'all have seen What About Bob?
Yeah, Bill Murray. I'm on vacation with Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just picture, Bill Murray's receding hairline all the way back to here. That's my older brother. My younger brother is bald as you are right now, Jim. And
there's the Unabomber leering around the corner at you.
There's the Unabomber.
I love you, Scott. Scott's amazing.
Yeah. There you go. This freaking Ted Kaczynski. God.
Ted Kaczynski and look at Bruno's picture. Bruno's a real connoisseur of hair. Look, he's got the colored hair. Nice job, Bruno.
Yes, he does. Man,
that fight poster for 266 is dope. They just threw up the fight poster for 266. It's literally amazing. They just keep getting better and better. But you do have beautiful hair, Jeff. I mean, that's not just long, wild hair anymore. You cut off a bunch of it. But it literally is, and I know why. I'm watching the wrong thing. I'm watching this on YouTube instead of on our eCam. But I literally thought it's like one of the celebrities, like when Eva Longoria does like a Pantene or a Clairol commercial, or Heather Locklear used to do them. And you're like, there's no way on God's green earth they use Pantene and have hair like that. It's like literally, But at the end of the day, man, you look like you could be in a hair commercial. It looks soft. It looks fluffy. It looks nice and healthy. There's no strays, no split ends. I mean, look at this hair.
I just buy the cheapest shampoo possible, like Suave, like $1.99.
Of course, it's Suave.
I'm not even kidding. It's like half the time I just grab the cheapest damn thing and wash it.
I wouldn't wash my dog with Suave. What are you talking
about? Yeah, I don't know, man.
At least it's not Revlon.
Yeah, I got lucky with the hair. I did get lucky with the hair. And like I said, both of my brothers are bald. So I walk into
like
me. Yeah, and they it's just I got my mom's hair. We'll put it that way. I got my mom's hair and they got my dad's side of the family.
So I'm at an event. Speaking of hair, Mark Madsen's coming up against Guida. Guida's got Jeff's hair, and Mark Madsen has my hair, literally. So Jeff is Team Guida. I'm Team Mark Madsen, and I would be. So the first time I met him, it was probably, I want to say it was May. I think it was May, maybe June. No, it was May, because we did the UFC in Glendale in June, so it was May. And I'm out. I get invited every once in a while. Blind squirrel finds the acorn. I get invited to a fighter party with Henry Cejudo and Captain Eric and Bruno Silva and that whole Fight Ready crew, Tracy Cortez, Brian Ortega, and then me. Well, this bald dude, and I didn't recognize him because he's literally had 2 UFC fights. And I'm like, man, who's this other handsome bald guy in here? I got to stand next to this guy. And so we decide to stand next to each other. And we're just telling all these girls who want to come in VIP, not to say that women get a little thirsty when there's fighters around, but women get a little thirsty when there's fighters around. And we were pretending we were security. Like you, and I actually had this one girl thinking she's $100. I had Madsen. Thanks a lot. Mark blows it for me. But we formed a brotherhood of the handsome bald guys who were pretending we were bouncers in the VIP at a bar in Phoenix. Anyway, I get to talking to this guy. We're hanging out and talking. And I'm like, this dude's a really good dude. It ended up being Madsen. And we hung out. We talked that night. Saw him a couple other times. Did an interview with him. And Mark Madsen is 36 years old. He's got a family. He moved his camp over to the U.S. for this fight. And he's training at Fight Ready. Now, you got Henry there. You got Captain Eric. You got Santino DeFranco, Eddie Cha, who's a great striking coach. They're 9-0 since they put together these super camps. You got Henry Cejudo, one of the pit bulls sometimes train over there. Let's see. Eric Anders has been on a roll since he's been there. And he's been a part of Madsen's getting ready for this fight. But the Korean Zombie is another one. But Madsen had always trained overseas. And he realized, he said to me, if I want to make a run at this belt, I need to get to a big-time gym over here in the States and train on that type of regimen and be in America. And he's been away from his family. His family came over for a while. But I always find it to be interesting because the Korean Zombie does the same thing. I always find it interesting when guys from overseas have to come all the way across the world and leave their family, or choose to come, not have to, all the way around the world to do a fight camp. And he was excited, and he came in one day, and he goes, I got a fight. And I go, who is it? He goes, Clay Guida. And I'm like, what do you think? He goes, I think I'm going to whip his ass. So now he gets his chance tonight.
He probably should. He probably should. What's funny about Clay Guida is every event for a long time that I would go to and run into Clay Guida, we would get a picture because we had the same hair. And so It's kind of the same story, right? I've got a bunch of pictures of me and Clay, and I don't take pictures with fighters at all. But for some reason, Guida likes the long hair. And so we have this series of pictures with me and Guida from a bunch of events over the years. Guy used to live in his little RV, man. I mean, they don't make him like Clay Guida, man. He's definitely one.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
The Big Lebowski hair says Work Life 316, Jeff. He says the Big Lebowski hair.
Yeah, he goes. I have that Big Lebowski sweater too. I like
the Big
Lebowski look. Yeah.
I mean, this dude fought in Strikeforce, WEC, King of the Cage, shoot. I mean, he probably fought at my neighborhood bar at one point, Clay Guida. He's unbelievable, and he's a great dude. He's obviously eccentric. He's known for the Geico commercials because they went from the cavemen to Clay Guida. It was a natural transition. But, I mean, everybody thinks this guy's done, and he comes out and gets big wins. He did it in 2017. Then he came back and beat BJ Penn. And he's got the elastic in the hair right now. He's always bouncing around, full of energy, a motor that never stops. He lost to Charles Oliveira in June of 2018 in the first round to guillotine choke. Everyone's lost to Charles Oliveira. That's why he's the champion. And then you had the win over BJ Penn. He loses back-to-back to Jim Miller and Bobby Green by technical submission, guillotine choke, and decision. He fights Michael Johnson in February of this year. And I'm going on and on because I saw Michael Johnson training out here in Arizona, and he was changing everything about himself. And Michael Johnson's one of those guys who has always had $1 million talent. You never know which Michael Johnson's going to show up in the octagon, and he's fighting great guys. But a lot of us assumed that Michael Johnson was going to roll right over Clay Guida, and Clay Guida dominated that fight, Jeff. Michael Johnson didn't have a chance from the beginning. Clay Guida established his game plan and completely took control of that fight from the beginning of the first round all the way through the end of the third and beat him. And I think we have someone else coming to the podium. So go ahead, Jeff, and then we can just toss it.
Yeah, it was a great performance from Guida, and why he's the co-main event tonight.
Who's this that we have here at the podium? Let's see. Coming to you live from the Apex in Vegas on MMA Weekly. I believe this is Said Yakub Kakramanov. Said Yakub Kakramanov at the podium on MMA Weekly. He wins his UFC debut over Trevin Jones by guillotine choke. Here he is.
You were a UFC winner. How's it feel?
Standing.
Feels good, but I feel really bad actually. I'm tired.
So you're just tired, that's all you feel?
Yeah.
I mean, that's to be expected, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how this fight came about, because it obviously wasn't happening as of a few days ago.
Well, I was in Uzbekistan enjoying some family time. Obviously, I wasn't really training. I was supposed to train. I've been fighting with my managers like, hey, when am I get my call? You know, I want my UFC debut already. I'm 25, you know, it's about that time. But I mean, he came and I had to answer the phone, like no matter what it was. They called me on Monday, and then Tuesday morning, I left Uzbekistan Tuesday morning, and I got to Vegas Wednesday at 7 p.m. I got to make the weight. I had to make weight on Thursday and Friday. I mean, I missed weight. I understand. It never happened to me before. I never ever missed weight in my life. Like I've been training since I'm 9 years old, 18 years, almost wrestling, judo, and everything. I never missed weight in my life. Even my last fight, I made 134.5 for my championship fight. It's just one of those days. I wish I didn't miss weight, but you know, it is what it is.
I don't think anybody blames you. I think we all kind of knew the circumstances going into that. I heard that it was a 30-hour flight. Is that correct?
I would say like 36.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I almost missed the flight in Moscow too, because I had to switch airport from one to another one. That's like 2 hours drive in the traffic. The driver had to break some rules.
So was all of that worth it? All of the, things the hoops you had to jump through, was it worth it to get here today?
Of course. I'm a fanboy, you know. I've been a fan of the UFC all my life. Even the high school days, I remember like cutting weight for like a tournaments. I used to run and then imagine that I'm working out the cage for the UFC. I don't know, it was just something that I always want to be here. Like no matter what, I always wanted to be here.
So outside of the win, what was the most exciting part of this whole trip? Did you meet anybody that, that was exciting or any moment?
The more exciting is that the treatment that UFC treats you, it's amazing. It's like, I can't even put it in words. It's like, it means so much to me. It's just the treatment, the way they treat you. There's so many people around you, like respectful. It just makes you feel like you're somebody, you know? It's just like, it's really good.
So it sounds like you were on a call with somebody. Have you already called home and celebrated?
Yeah, I'm talking to my dad, my parents. Here, there's my parents here. Mom and dad.
What do they have to say?
Oh, they're just watching me.
Were they watching the fights or are they?
Yeah, they were watching the fights.
What do your parents think about you being a UFC fighter?
Oh, they don't really understand that, I don't know, because I've been telling, I was supposed to be in California getting ready for this short call, but they were like, they would keep begging me to come. I'm like, yo, listen, like, this is my life. Like, let me make my debut and I'll go. And then eventually I had to go, I just be with him a little bit. And then I got the call and I was like, I told my dad, I'm like, you see, I told you I had to be here, but it is what it is.
So now that you've been in there, you've had your first fight, was it what you expected?
Oh, of course. I knew it was going to be a hard fight. I mean, all my life, I never had an easy route. Never, ever. I never had an easy fight in my life. Never. I always been the underdog. I always been the guy that the people will always count me out. There's obviously coaches around me. Ricky Ledesma, my boxing coach, who never left my side. I mean, I have another coach, jiu-jitsu coach, who helped me. He did help me a lot. His name is Pablo Alfonso from Warriors Camp, Idaho. I did train with Ricardo Lamas as well, in Chicago. I left a lot of people behind me until I got here. I had to be selfish. I had ups and downs. I had to be selfish. I left a lot of people behind me. I had to always look for a better opportunity, better coaches, better gym. It is what it is. No disrespect to nobody. I love everybody. It's just like I had to do what I had to do. Because when you don't have money, when you're broke, nobody's going to help you. It's only you and God. I've been there and I know.
So is the plan to stay here for a little bit, maybe get another fight, or do you want to go home right away?
Oh no, I live in America. I live in California. I went back home just to visit family. I go back home every 2-3 years. I live here. I'm gonna go home, relax a little bit. But I need to get back to training. I didn't really train for this fight. I didn't really train. Maybe I was training like 2-3 times a week. Just running, just doing. Actually, my little cousin, 15 years old. He's coming up to 15 years old. He was holding me pads. Like he doesn't even know how to hold pads, but I was telling him what to do. That's what I was doing. The rest is the history.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Only one for me. You definitely showed a lot of heart out there. How much more improvement would we see if you actually had the time to have a proper training camp and didn't have to get off a jet, and 24 hours later be in a fight? Did you feel jet lag sort of through this whole week as well?
I think I'm young. That's why it didn't really affect me that much. But yeah, actually, like 2 days before, Thursday morning, I was like, time difference, I was still sleeping and then my body was just moving, It is what it is, no excuse. I'm sorry that I missed weight. It never happened to me in my life. I'm sorry to Team Jones, whatever his name is, I forgot. I didn't mean to miss weight, but it just happened. But, I don't really think I'm in my prime yet, Once I hit my prime, I think I still have 2-3 years to hit my prime. Some people hit their prime late. But I guess you could look at me, I'm not a big guy, I'm just a regular small guy. But, once I hit my prime, I'm going to be a problem.
And since it was such a short notice, was there any particular game plan coming in, or did you just want to come out there and make sure you did what you needed to do?
Oh, I had no game plan. I was like, I want to ask my coaches, I'm like, hey, how should I start the fight? I want to keep asking him that, but I'm like, whatever, I'm going to just go and fight, Just fight went on, and I had no game plan. I just, at the end of the day, how to fight, I just looked at it as a street fight. I'm like, let's make this as a street fight, Since I've been a kid, even back at home in Uzbekistan. Like, I'd be walking to school, some kid, like, older guy, be like, hey, you want to fight him? I'm like, shit, can I say no to that? No, I got to say yes. So that's how I grew up, So fight is a fight.
You definitely had you had him in a couple dangerous submission attempts early on in the fight. Are you surprised that he was able to get out of some of those at the beginning before you eventually got him there towards the end?
No, I wasn't surprised because I had it locked in really good, but he knew how to defend it. Obviously he's a black belt. I don't really do jiu-jitsu a lot. I'm just me. I have a really good guillotine. I love guillotine. Like when I have that, I'm just like snatch your neck off, But that last round, once I locked that in, I knew he wasn't going nowhere. I knew that. I gave everything I had, but I knew he wasn't going nowhere.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Saeed Yakub Kakramanov beats Trevin Jones by technical submission, guillotine choke, round 3, 4:39. And we are into round 2, Jeff Cain, of our co-main event. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Jeff Cain, the Caniac with the hair all over the place tonight. Nice and neat and shiny and silky, and everybody loves Jeff's hair. We're all having a good time tonight on MMA Weekly, the most trusted source of news and entertainment in MMA for almost 20 years. Mark Madsen just went for his first takedown against Clay Guida. Didn't get one in the first round, Jeff. As they fight in round number 2, I'm at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Madsen and Guida, the co-main event, with Cannonier and Gastelum, the main event, coming up here soon. While we have you, make sure you follow us on social media. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. Get the bell right there. Hit that so we can let you know when we have programming coming your way or when we're live or anything like that. All you do is get that bell for notifications. We love you in the chat. Keep coming with the comments and everything else we have going here tonight as we get set for Cannonier and Gastelum. And we've got someone checking in from Uzbekistan, and that is where what's his name is from, Jeff Saeed Yakub Kakramanov. Say it 5 times fast. I think I got it down now. But Madsen and Guida, Mark Madsen thoroughly outstriking Clay Guida in round number 1, really went to the body a lot, didn't go for takedowns in round number 1. His strategy, the Olympic wrestler, silver medalist, and multiple-time medalist at the World Championships, avoided wrestling in the first round, just trying to wear down the body of Clay Guida. Landed 36 significant strikes in the fight so far.
Yeah, I mean, Guida's, trying to fire back, and he's active. He's just loading up on his punches, though. You can see he's trying to end it with one shot where his opponent is not. He's just methodically taking it. The knees from the clinch, man, have been brutal so far in this fight as well. Guida doesn't look bad, but he's getting outclassed.
Yeah. And Madsen's a little taller, a little stronger. He's loving that clench, man. He's getting the hands behind the neck of Clay Guida, pulling him in for the knees, as you mentioned. And he's got, some damage done now to Guida. But Guida, of course, is always that. He's got that bouncy style. He's got so much energy. He moves a lot. He's got cardio for days. But he's tough to get a read on and hit very cleanly because he's always moving side to side. He's got the head movement. Guida moves as much as any fighter. He's in, he's out. He's throwing leg kicks, just landed with one there. And it's worth much as and not that big of an underdog. Madsen was as much as 170, minus 170, and as low as minus 143 as a favorite. And Guida at plus 110 all the way up to plus 140 in this fight. So not the odds that you might think. But again, Madsen hasn't fought that much in the UFC. It's only his third fight. And we know for a fact that just because you're a great wrestler, it doesn't mean you're going to be a great UFC fighter. Those days are gone. There used to be a time when you could come in as a world-class wrestler and you were almost for sure going to be a UFC champ. It's not the case anymore. Not even close.
No, ask Ben Askren. It isn't what it used to be.
That's a good point.
Next
thing you know, you're losing to Jake Paul.
Yeah. Well, and next thing you know, you're getting taken down. Is what's kind of crazy about it. Cormier was taken down by Jones. It's just hard to say. But yeah, those days of being a one-dimensional fighter are over in the UFC. You have to be so great at the one thing that you're known for, your specialty, and it just isn't enough anymore. It used to be enough. The jiu-jitsu was enough for Hoist to dominate early, and then the wrestlers, got onto that, and the strikers were able to work in takedown defense, and then all of a sudden the wrestlers are getting knocked out, and then now everybody's good at everything, and so the sport is awesome. Where it's been kind of cool to watch it get to this point for those people who've watched from the UFC 1 till now, because it really and truly was just singular arts. We'd throw a karate guy in there with a boxer, see who wins. Throw a wrestler in there, a jiu-jitsu guy, see who wins. Now, the sport is truly mixed martial arts. I don't feel like before it was necessarily an accurate title. It was for some people, but now I feel like everybody pretty much, especially on this level, is a true mixed martial artist.
Yeah, and Madsen really, I can see Eddie Cha all over this. And happy birthday, by the way, yesterday, Coach Eddie Cha. Eddie Cha's, I can see that jab coming from Madsen, and he's using that jab to set things up. The high-level striking, he's been popping Guida, and he's listed at 5'9", Guida at 5'7", and I think Madsen's much taller. I mean, you could see the two of them. There's no way that's only a 2-inch discrepancy. The height and the reach from Madsen were big keys there in round number 2, as I think he really took control of that fight. Although, he's outlanding Guida 55-44 in terms of total strikes, 52-44 in significant strikes, but Guida's thrown 28 more strikes in this fight, landing 23 to the head, Madsen 38 to the head. Guida with only 2 body strikes, Madsen 10, and then the legs, Guida's had 19 leg kicks land. So if you want to slow a guy down and wear him down over the course of a 3-round fight, and you want to take away some of those weapons that he might have, his power, the leg kicks are a good way to do it. Madsen has not had a takedown in this fight. The multiple time medalist in the world champions, and we just talked about you can't just be a wrestler. He's an Olympic silver medalist and a 4-time medalist, 3 silver and 1 bronze at the World Wrestling Championships. So to hold a guy like that, and this is Guida, been around a long time, to not be taken down once by Madsen in this fight so far, I mean, that's pretty impressive, very impressive on the part of Clay Guida.
Yeah, it is. I'm surprised, and it's just experience, because with Madsen's wrestling ability, if I were coaching him, and I'm sure they are telling him that, but you needs to work his wrestling to steal rounds. the final minute, get a takedown. Final 30 seconds, get a takedown. And so that's the only thing that I'm shocked. His striking looks pretty crisp, to be honest with you. He uses his reach well. He's got good movement. I'm a little shocked that he hasn't worked on the takedowns, but part of it, or worked in any takedowns, but part of it might be Guida has a really, really good guillotine choke. And so if a wrestler leaves his head out, man, a little bit, Guida will exploit that. And so maybe he's just like, look, it's safer for me to stand out here, use my reach, and outstrike Guida and don't even worry about the wrestling.
Well, he's also a Greco wrestler, which, as we know, is different than freestyle, and you're not allowed to do holds below the legs in Greco. So he's not a freestyle wrestler, which explains why you're not seeing the singles and the doubles. But he's a Greco-Roman wrestler, which is heavy on throws, right? So we'll see if he can throw Clay Guida. So you've seen Madsen work the clench in this fight. You've seen him come in, the hands behind the neck and the knees, throwing some Muay Thai in there. And that could be, something that he could use to set up some Greco wrestling a little bit later in the fight. Dan Henderson, a Greco wrestler, for example, who I believe was an alternate in the Olympics in Greco-Roman, but a lot different than, say, Cejudo or Cormier or Ben Askren.
Yeah, man, he's just doing a really good job of popping his jab out there, and then Guida tries to respond with like a 3-punch combination that comes up short. So he's doing a real good job of controlling the range. He pop Guida, and then he's out of the way for Guida's, counter combination, and his jab is landing repeatedly. But those numbers were closer than I thought. Whenever you read those numbers, I thought that they were further apart than that. It's going to be interesting what the judges say in rounds 1 and 2. I feel like, this fight's been a little one-sided. It's been competitive, but I feel like you clearly have Madsen winning this fight. But when you read those numbers to me, I got a little nervous. About the damn judges.
There you go, right there, Jeff. See Vegas, that? That's though. ESPN Plus. I'm not showing the fight, so we're not in trouble here. But the live stats are pretty incredible on ESPN Plus. It really, I mean, even when I'm watching a pay-per-view, it's great to have it up to get those stats. It's just, it's awesome. Real time.
Yeah, I didn't
as
look
real
at it.
time as real time gets.
Yeah, I'll have to start looking at that, man, because that's something that I haven't done. I don't look at that. I look at them when they throw them up on the screen between rounds, but that's it, man. I'll have to get that app. I have that app. I don't know why I'm not using it. I'm not fully utilizing the damn app.
And that's what we pay the $5.99 for. I think they raised it to $6.99, as a matter of fact. Leg kicks exchanged back and forth. Man, Guida is a gamer. We know that. I mean, he's a gamer. He's a tough dude. He actually just nailed Madsen with an elbow. Madsen chasing him all over the octagon, throwing shots at him. You're not going to out-cardio a wrestler, and you're not going to out-cardio Clay Guida. I mean, this dude, obviously, he's known for his cardio, but, I mean, he's a wrestler, too. He's just not a wrestler on the level of Mark Madsen. But again, there's wrestling and there's MMA. GSP came in as a karate guy and ultimately became one of the best wrestlers in the sport because he was an MMA wrestler. So there's a big difference. You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, there is a big difference. Sometimes it doesn't translate. GSP was one of those freak athletes, right? Because you can't, I will say this, GSP is one of the few people I've ever known covering the sport for as long as I have to come in not a wrestler and then become one of the best wrestlers, if not, the greatest wrestler the sport has ever seen at one point. And so that's so rare. Wrestling's not something you can pick up overnight. It's I think you can pick up the striking faster than you can the wrestling. Put it that way. Both are hard to become an expert at. But, yeah, man, Guida's a good enough wrestler, and he's got so much experience in MMA. It's all about timing. It's all about them up and to use your punches to close the distance. And it's just different than wrestling. But yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I thought they just both exchanged, just planted their feet and just started throwing down. Guida's a gamer, man. That's what makes him so fun to watch. Even when he's losing, it's a fun fight to watch. He's not out of this fight. He is losing this fight though. He's getting outstruck by a guy who has a much better jab. But he's outworking Madsen, just not effectively. No,
and he's 39 years old, man. I mean, for a guy to be 39 years old and have the tank that he has, I mean, just the movement and the agility and the quickness and just the cardio that lasts for days. I'm just impressed by Guida. You'd never guess that he's 39 years old watching him fight. And last time when he fought Johnson, we started thinking we're putting him in the Diego Sanchez category, and he's clearly not there yet.
No, he is not there yet. He looked good tonight. I mean, I really feel like he looked good tonight. I think he lost this fight by unanimous decision, but I felt like he looked good. His movement was good. He was firing back. He wasn't hurt in the fight. He got his combinations off. They kept coming up short, and that's because Madsen did a great job of controlling the range. Like I said, this is just one of those fights where you get outclassed by your opponent, but you didn't look terrible. He's not one of those people that I'm worried about. Diego, I'd be fine if Diego never fought again. I'm not that way with Clay Guida. Clay Guida's.
I think a lot of people would be.
Himself. Yeah, he can protect himself. He's competent in there. He's still on top of his game. It's not one of those situations where it's not a Ken Shamrock or a Sakuraba or a Diego Sanchez situation where we just don't want to see him take any more damage.
Chris Lieben toward the end.
Yeah,
Chris Lieben toward the end was there for me.
Yeah, and there's
but and we thought Condit was getting there too, but Condit's not there yet either.
No,
Condit
I saw
something
take
recently.
The damage. Yeah, Condit's been in some wars, but he hasn't taken the damage that every fight Diego blocks punches with his face. That's his defense. I'm just going to block punches with my face. That was Chris Lieben's defense.
What did I just read about? No, this is not a Rocky movie, but what did I just read about Diego? He just called somebody out for bare knuckle. Oh, Dylan Dennis. He called out Dylan Dennis for a bare knuckle fight. And Dylan Dennis said, I don't want to go. Has anybody ever gotten more famous for nothing than Dylan Dennis?
Khabib
flies over the cage at him. He's become this household name. And what has he really done in the sport? Not all that much.
I don't. I don't talk a bunch. Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting question. Nobody in MMA's gotten more famous for doing less than him. Not in MMA. I mean, I about threw up Paris Hilton, but then I was like, I don't know what she did other than was birthed. But yeah, Dennis is an interesting guy. Keeps his name out there. Dylan Dennis needs to fight Diego's old coach, Fabian.
Yeah, there you go. Or I call him Labia. But just change the F to an L. But it's funny because when I think about this, and Madsen gets the win, and he's got the Danish flag, and Guida's got the American flag, and DC's got a nice suit. DC was listening to me, Jeff. DC went suit shopping. He's got the jacket on. That's DC. I'm giving you a B+ on that jacket. Not that he gives a crap what I think, but Jeff, I think about Diego Sanchez going to bare knuckle, and I think if anyone sanctions that fight, they should be barred from ever sanctioning anything in this sport again, or any sport.
I mean, yeah, I don't know who he's going to fight, man.
He called out Dennis. Dennis is calling out Bisping. Bisping with his eye injury and bare knuckle. Come on, I mean, it's just crazy. Bisping won't do that. He's making too much money calling fights.
Certainly not. Yeah, and Bisping's not in fight shape. He's not one of those people. He's like Cormier over here, right? They are retired. When they said they're retired, they for a minute. And you can look at his belly to know. They're not coming back, and that's why people people call Bisping out. He's not going to come back. And so you get to say something. He makes headlines, and then Bisping's going to respond. So then you're going to get a second set of headlines. But those fights are never going to happen. I agree. Here's the thing with Diego. I would be willing to give Diego another shot in MMA if he were with a good team and I knew who he was with and how he was training. Because physically, I don't feel like he can't compete. I feel like he's gone so far away from the training and stuff that got him to be who he was that he may never get back there. But he's taken a lot of damage, and so that's where I am right now. I don't want to see him take any more damage. He's clearly been unstable. We'll just say that for the last couple of years. He's in the things that he's said. He's even said that he has brain damage. That's him saying it, not me. And so when you say stuff like that, I agree with you. If you tell me you have brain damage, there's no way I can give you a fight. Period. I can't give you a fight. No matter what, I can't give you a fight. And so, yeah, I hopefully nobody takes that fight. Hopefully, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship decides no.
Yeah, and that the name would still be good, and I mean it's got to be tempting, but there just comes a point in time where you have to put fighter safety first, no matter who you are. By the way, Madsen called out Gregor Gillespie. all I could see on my closed captioning was Greg, and I'm looking at the lightweight rankings, and he goes, there's a guy that's been calling himself the best wrestler in the division. That's Gregor Gillespie. So Madsen calling out Gregor Gillespie, who's now number 10 in that division. And that, I mean, look, Madsen's not ranked. He just beat Guida. So that would be a decent jump for him to fight 10th ranked Gregor Gillespie and see who the best wrestler in the division is. What if they just said, we're not going to throw punches, we're just going to wrestle?
I'm not.
No one would. Dana would never let him do it. It'd have to be a secret agreement, like a gentleman's handshake.
It'd have to be a secret agreement. Yeah, I think that's a smart call out because it's built in, right? The wrestling comments makes it relevant. I'm an Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. He says he's the best wrestler. But there's the storyline, and it's a top 10 opponent. He just got this win over a household name. Then he gets a top 10 opponent. If he can win that, then you can throw him in there with the top 5 opponent. I think it was smart of Madsen. That was a smart call out for him.
I mean, Islam would be a good match. I'd love to see him fight Islam with the way that could be a matchup for him. There's a lot of good matchups there in that division. I mean, I'm looking forward to the fights coming up. Meanwhile, we got Cannonier and Gastelum, and if you're here watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, please. That helps us out a lot. Hit the bell. Anything that you do to engage and involve yourself with us helps us out with YouTube, with the algorithms, with everything in here. So please do that. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Jeff Cain, the Caniac, is in the building. We have the main event coming up. Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, against KG, Kelvin Gastelum at middleweight. Jeff and Cannonier, as we've talked about throughout the show, is ranked number 3. Kelvin is ranked number 9. Both of them coming off a loss to Robert Whitaker in their last fight. Cannonier's was a lot longer ago than Kelvin Gastelum's. Jared Cannonier has not been in the octagon in a while, but remember, he had the damaged orbital bone, he had the broken arm against Robert Whitaker, and that was in October of 2020 at Abu Dhabi, and I believe that was the Khabib, it was the Khabib Gaethje card. And so that was the co-main event in Khabib's last fight in Abu Dhabi. So he had before that, Jared Cannonier wins over David Branch, Anderson Silva, and Jack the Joker Hermanson back-to-back-to-back. And that was when he moved up to middleweight, or moved down to middleweight for UFC 230 in New York City. I mean, if you're going to make your debut in New York City and you're just going to TKO David Branch in 39 seconds, that's a good way to start your middleweight run. And he won 3 in a row before he lost the unanimous decision to Whitaker. Before that, he was at light heavyweight, lost 3 out of 4, actually 3 out of 5 there. And before that, he was at heavyweight. So he started at heavyweight, got down to light heavyweight, and eventually cuts down to middleweight. But my point is, dude, for a middleweight, he has heavyweight power. And like you said, he's absorbed heavyweight punches. Kelvin doesn't usually go into a fight where you feel like his opponent is the stronger fighter who hits harder. It's hard to imagine anybody hitting harder than Kelvin's left as KG makes his walk to the octagon. But Jared Cannonier's got heavyweight power, heavyweight chin at middleweight. And as I watch his highlight reels and prepare for the show, watch his highlights and watch his fights again, when he hits you, you go to sleep. I mean, this dude hits like a freaking truck, and his leg kicks are devastating. Now, he's got the range in this fight. He's got the height. He's got the distance. He's got the reach. His leg kicks, Kelvin hasn't had to worry too much about leg kicks in a lot of his fights. He's got to worry about it in this one. But I feel like styles-wise, Cannonier likes to be slow and methodical and pick you apart with his striking. Kelvin likes to bum rush you and throw bombs. Something's got to give in this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, that's I think Kelvin's key to victory is pressure. And Cannonier, I don't know. I think that he's the better striker of the two. I don't know that he has more punching power than Kelvin does. When Kelvin lands that left, man, it's like an atomic bomb went off. But
it really
Cannonier
is.
has power. He has power. There's no question. He might have more power than Kelvin. I don't know yet. But what I will say is Kelvin doesn't fall easily. I've seen Kelvin eat a knee full-fledged. I mean, it's clean of a knee you can get hit with and then just take a guy down. I've seen him get head kicked. In the Robert Whitaker fight, he just ate a head kick. Boom! It was just like,
he ate a head from Whitaker, a Whitaker head kick. The only guy I saw do that was Yoel Romero's, the only other one I saw.
It's crazy. So Kelvin, and that's one thing that Izzy did say about this fight, is that if he could talk to Cannonier heading into this fight, I would tell him to not only pack a lunch, pack a friggin' dinner and breakfast for the next day, because this.
Yeah, no kidding. Kelvin's a beast, and he's a worker, man. He's a lunch pail fighter. And the thing about Kelvin that a lot of people don't realize, he's a high school state wrestling champion for sure. Amateur boxing, he did great. But Kelvin has 4 wins by submission. He trains with Rafael Cordero. He's got a great, for years with Verdum. He's got Benil Dariush out there. That's an outstanding MMA team, Kings MMA, but their jiu-jitsu is super high level. Cannonier is at the MMA lab, also a great jiu-jitsu gym. So while we're sitting here talking about their power and their striking, the jiu-jitsu, the grappling could end up playing a big role in this fight.
Especially if somebody gets hurt, because the fight goes to the ground and then it becomes, the scramble or somebody's trying to lock up a submission. Kelvin's strong. When Kelvin gets that guillotine choke that he sometimes gets on people, man, he's a very strong guy. And so it's hard to get away from it. This is a great fight. This is a great fight because while Kelvin is ranked number 9, it's because of that division. Kelvin talent-wise is as good as people in the top 5 of the division. He just hasn't had the wins, or I won't say that. He got beat by the people that forced him down that list. But Kelvin could absolutely, is Cannonier overrated? Is he ranked too high? And we're going to find out tonight because Kelvin is a beast. And to be ranked number 9, holy shit.
Yeah, that division's crazy.
Yeah,
and both these guys super tough. Both of them went the distance with Whitaker, and Whitaker put a lot of punishment on both these guys, and both of them with great chins. So I know that they both have great chins. I know that they both have the power to put almost anybody out if the right shot lands. Both strong, but in the past, Cannonier has had a little bit of trouble with grapplers who can hold him down. I would wonder, and I would wonder what the game plan is from the Kings MMA, from Kelvin's team. Would it be possibly maybe even later in the fight, because Kelvin doesn't really grapple or wrestle that much these days. But Kelvin, in fact, it's interesting when I start thinking about it. He did get submitted by Jack Hermanson, but that was kind of more like, I don't want to call it a fluke, but he got caught early on in that fight, and I believe it was like what was it, like a heel hook or an ankle, a heel hook that he lost to Hermanson by. But when you look at Kelvin, he has not submitted anyone in a long time. It was Jake Ellenberger at UFC 180 in 2014, his last submission win. There you go. That's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago. That's a real long time ago. He has 4 wins by submission. But look, he's very knowledgeable in the jiu-jitsu game. And plus, if he has you hurt, man, he has a killer instinct. He'll lock on a choke and finish it from there. I don't know what his game plan is. My game plan, if I were Kelvin, would be pressure and see if I can't disrupt that jab of Cannonier, disrupt his rhythm. And then once I get inside, I want to beat him up at dirty boxing in the clinch. But Cannonier is dangerous on the inside as well. This is a great matchup, man. And we're going to find out.
Matchup.
This is the way I look at this fight. We're going to find out how tough Jared Cannonier is. We know how tough Kelvin Gastelum is. We're going to find out if Cannonier has that same kind of toughness.
Yeah, and I will say one other thing about Kelvin. Kelvin came out to Arizona for a while and trained at Fight Ready and went to Neuroforce 1, which is where Cejudo would go, and a lot of these fighters go to to involve science into their nutrition and their weight cut and their workouts and really use science to its fullest ability, which he had never done before. And I don't think he got enough of that in this camp to really say that he did it the whole time. But he did improve his conditioning and his nutrition, and along the way, it made for an easier weight cut on Fight Week. So I know that Kelvin thinks that'll make a difference, and his team thinks that'll make a difference coming into this fight. But we're getting ready, man. Their names are about to be called. 5 rounds, main event at middleweight, 2 top 10 fighters. You mentioned Kelvin at number 9, Cannonier at number 3. He hasn't fought in almost a year, coming off the injuries, getting back in there. Just to go from heavyweight to light heavyweight to middleweight. Kelvin's fought at middleweight and lightweight. But, man, they've both fought really big fights. If you're Cannonier, you've already fought Whitaker. You've already fought Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? You've fought in main events. You're definitely, the Jack Hermanson fight was a main event, and look what he did to Hermanson in that fight. It was a really impressive win for him. But the thing about Cannonier that impresses me the most is He's a killer, man. I mean, in 13 wins, he's got 11 finishes, 9 by knockouts, Jeff, and he's got 7 first-round finishes in his career. 7.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy, when he hits you, you fall for the most part. And he's taking on a guy who, when you hit him, he usually doesn't fall. And so this is going to be really interesting. Cannonier does have really good timing. He's got good uppercuts. I mean, he's just a good athlete, right? He's a good athlete. So he's got that going for him on top of the power and the striking.
And he looks ripped.
But Kelvin's a difficult matchup for a lot of people. And I think that's what Izzy was saying, is that it becomes more mental. As the fight goes on, you've hit the guy with everything you've got, and he's still pressuring you, and it becomes a mental thing. And you have to stay in the moment and not, let the doubt creep in like, oh, shit, I'm going to fade and lose. That Kelvin puts you there mentally. And so that is a different kind of – that's why I love Izzy's breakdowns, right? He's been in there with Kelvin. He's like, there are moments where Kelvin forces you to dig deep, and some people don't have it. Some people as well as shallow.
I'll tell you this, man. It opened at minus 230 for Cannonier and plus 185 for Kelvin, meaning Cannonier is a pretty big favorite. Shrunk to what is literally to plus 115. What'd you say, Jeff?
We forgot to tell the timer. We screwed it up again.
Just started. 4:58. Go ahead, Scott. It just started. We didn't screw it up, Jeff, but you reminded me.
Okay.
I don't know if Scott heard that, but it's at 4:48, 4:47, 4:46, 4:45. We almost got it right on the button. But we got Kelvin and Cannonier. Kelvin coming out fast.
Kelvin hands look really fast. He looks sharp right now, and man, he's headhunting.
Cannonier not close with a head kick. I'm at 420, Jeff. I think I'm behind you still.
Yeah. You're It's fine.
Wow, KG throwing bombs. Cannonier is just, look at, he's such a beast. Physical specimen, man. Just a physical specimen, this guy. For him to be a heavyweight and come down here like this and look like that at 185 is unbelievable. But Kelvin, you just see his build. He's got that stocky. He's like a tank, man. Legitimate. His midsection's thick, every part of him. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I wonder how fast Cannonier feels at this weight. He's walking around as a heavyweight. For anybody that's been heavy and lost a bunch of weight, man, I felt really fast when that happens to me.
It's like when you swing the lead bat or put a donut on the bat in the on-deck circle and you take it off and you feel it. Yeah, that's like you feel like you're swinging a telephone pole and you take it off. It feels like a wiffle bat.
Yeah, I wonder if
Kelvin throwing leg kicks. Oh, that left is a bomb from Kelvin. He throws that thing with devastating intentions, and it's got a lot of speed to it. My coach likes to say when we work out, if you get the speed, and the speed builds power. Technique builds speed, speed builds power. And you can see that in Kelvin Gastelum all day long.
Yep, speed kills, man. You aren't ready for it.
Ooh, Cannonier just missed with a head kick. That was quick, man. These guys are quick, Jeff. They're both quicker than I thought they'd be. For some reason, you think big, strong dudes won't be so quick. They both look super. Don't they look quick in there to you?
Yeah, they look really fast. Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't remember them being this fast either. And maybe it's just before a round or two. But I was thinking like both of them against Whitaker. Neither one of them looked this fast against Whitaker.
Kelvin's never been knocked out. 26 pro fights, never been knocked out.
Yeah, man.
We've said that before about Frankie Edgar and other guys too. Oh. We've seen it. It eventually happens. Uh-oh. Jeff just saw something.
Oh,
I'm still at 210, 205.
Yeah. You'll get there. Cannonier landed a bomb of a right hand. It just landed clean as hell. And Kelvin was just like, yeah, whatever. Holy shit, is his chin unreal. Unreal.
Wow, I see a left hook that just landed from Cannonier. That just popped his head back. Nothing happened there.
Oh, it might be a left hook. Yeah, because I'm watching on the mirror behind me. So yeah.
What time are you? I'm watching on the mirror.
It probably was a damn
what
left
time
hook.
do you have in the round? Where are you at?
I'm at 118.
Okay, I'm only 12 seconds behind you.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a lift. Like I said, I'm watching on the TV's behind me, but there's a mirror on the wall in front of me, and so I can just watch it in the mirror, but it makes everything reversed.
Man, Kelvin's head movement in the pocket is high level, boxing-wise. It's just crazy. These guys are legit stud fighters, man. These are great mixed martial artists. Unbelievable. What a job we have.
Yeah, and so much the pace has been fast for both of these guys. I don't know if you're going to be able to maintain this pace for 5 rounds. Right now, they're not worried about it, though, right? We're in the first, and they're still throwing bombs.
Yeah, this has been, both guys trying to get that knockout in the first round. And why not, right? You don't want to stand there and be in there too long against either one of these guys if you're the opponent. You want to finish them as fast as they want to finish you. And you don't want to be hit by these guys for 4 rounds, 5 rounds. You just don't. You don't want to take that punishment. That's a punishing fight that's going to put you out for a while. You're going to take a lot of damage. You want to finish as soon as you can. This is not a fight where either guy is saying, hey, let me outpoint him and win by decision. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they don't get paid by the hour, or by the minute. If you can get somebody out in 10 seconds, get them the hell out of there in 10 seconds.
Nice leg kick by Kelvin. He's going for a takedown at the bell or at the horn, didn't get it. I don't know how to score that round.
But see, that's what I was saying is I was smart on it's experience. Kelvin knew to go for a takedown late in the round and try to steal the round. And so, yeah, when we were talking about the co-main event, I felt like that was one thing he was lacking, Madsen. Kelvin looked good in that round. I don't know how you score that either. I felt like Cannonier probably landed the bigger shots, but it didn't affect Kelvin, so what the hell did it matter? And there for the last minute, I felt like Kelvin dictated the pace. That's a close round, man. That's a close round. You got the stats.
I think the kicks from Kelvin, the kicks was there. DC and Paul Felder are talking about the kicks from Kelvin. I can see on the closed captioning. Cannonier landed with a good jab, a nice left hook, more of the hand game. So we got total strikes, 24-18 for Cannonier, 24-18 significance, 14 to the head compared to 10, 7 body shots from Cannonier, 2 for Kelvin, 11 to the head for Kelvin, actually, and then legs, just, a few each. No real control, no takedowns. Kelvin 0 for 1 on takedowns. And there we are in round 2, 448 and counting.
It's a close round. That's a close round.
Yeah, man.
And like I said, it's hard. It's one of those weird fights because Kelvin's moving forward, right? Although he's technically getting outstruck slightly on the stats. But he's the one that's moving forward. And I know that a lot of judges see that and immediately think that the one moving forward is the one winning. And so he's got that going for him.
Yeah, man, here we go. Round number 2, about 4:15 remaining. Homeless in America says he thinks Jared won round 1. What do you rest of you guys think in that chat? I think it was too close to call, and I'm glad I'm not a judge. That's what I think.
Yeah, I felt like he landed the bigger shots, and so I don't. It's hard to watch and talk and get it all, but and then the stats. Whenever you said the stats, he had a slight advantage. So I don't know, man. But like I said, the one thing that Kelvin does have going for him is he's the one moving forward. And so, and that means a lot to a lot of judges. And so who knows, man, that could have been an even round. There might be a judge or two, hell, that scored it for Kelvin. I don't know.
No, Kelvin just hit him with a brutal body shot, man. Wow. They just shrug. They just walk right through these body shots that would literally put me in the hospital. Nice kick by Cannonier. Almost swept out the lead leg of Gastelum there.
Yeah, those are good poker faces because that hurts. I don't care.
It hurts like hell.
It hurts like hell, yeah. And
my point is I wouldn't even be able to have a poker face, Jeff. That's my point.
No.
I do sit-ups at training. My coach hits me. I do sit-ups, and he cracks me with the pad right in the gut at the bottom to get me to tense it up. And then I'm up top, and I have to throw a 1-2, and then I go down, and he hits me. And I'm dying from 25 sit-ups of being punched when I get to the bottom. And it's not even hard.
And
that's not even hitting me in the oblique. That doesn't. I mean, that's in the front, right in the abs. It deals those oblique punches, man. Oh, right under the ribs on the side of your body. Those are the worst.
Yeah, I would be. Yeah, there's no way I could take those body punches. I mean, I'm a pansy when it comes to the body. That's for damn sure.
Oh,
I'd be
man.
tapping out. First one to hit me. And Kelvin ripped that to the body too, man. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
I mean, that landed hard. That's putting in time though. That's Kelvin setting things up for later on in the fight.
Big left from KG. He hit him with one. Ooh. Man. And Cannonier just shrugs it off, man. He just got clapped and he shrugged it off.
Yeah, Cannonier's chin is there. I didn't know if it would be, but Kelvin has hit him with some big shots, and he's just like Kelvin.
Cannonier just landed one too.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelvin, Jeff, when you talked about, as we broke down this fight throughout the night, you talked about Kelvin perfecting the art of hitting you at the end of his punch. He just got Cannonier with a couple of them, and I thought about what you were saying. It doesn't look like he's going to hit him, and his his arm just go gadgets itself and becomes longer.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's overextending and making a mistake, because if you overextend and can't get back, then you're going to eat a combination, a counter shot combination. Doesn't happen to Kelvin. And it's like you said, it's when you think that you're out of range, he hits you. It's crazy that he has that ability.
Was Knucklehead in the chat telling us not to talk about our personal life to break down the fight. I don't think he realizes that we can't do actual live play-by-play. But thanks for the recommendation. Everybody's a producer. Kelvin with another body shot.
Yeah, right now they're standing in front of each other, center of the octagon. Kelvin's bouncing on his feet. Cannonier, is on the outside. And like I said, every now and then they'll plant and throw combinations at each other. Both of them have been landing. I think Cannonier's jab's landing a little better this round than it did in the first. But right now, this is an even fight.
Kelvin taking the center of the octagon, dancing around, telling me to get in there. And, KG's cardio, Cannonier's cardio, very impressive. They're not even breathing heavy at all yet, and we're almost at the end of round number 2. And it's been a high-paced, big-volume fight. Neither guy's showing any signs of any sort of fatigue. Neither guy's showing any hesitation whatsoever to mix it up, so nobody's hurt yet. This is a really good high-level fight at 185. And, again, 2 of the top guys. There's no way Kelvin's the 9th best middleweight in the world. He's up higher. It's just the losses knock him down a little bit.
And what's crazy is Kelvin has eaten a couple of shots that put people to sleep. I mean, put you straight to sleep. And Cannonier has eaten a couple of shots that people don't those shots that sent Bisping's head into a bobblehead friggin', universe of its own.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, Cannonier just got starched by one of them and it just eats it. It's crazy. It's the chin on these two guys is incredible. Now that also means that you're getting hit, but this has been a great fight so far. This is fight of the night. We're only 2 rounds in.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Kelvin kept working those kicks, and those are starting to add up. And we just see, that left that you were talking about from Kelvin right on the nose of Cannonier. And he didn't even flinch, man. And Kelvin hit him with a right that popped his head back. Cannonier landed a couple of big shots. So Homeless is saying 2-0. Jared, I'm not so sure. It's close to call. It's really close.
I don't know. It is close.
The announcers are saying Kelvin. Felder and DC are saying Kelvin.
Won the second round?
Yeah.
Huh.
But they're saying Cannonier had moments. He landed some kicks. Kelvin's pace picked up. And you see Kelvin. He's taking control of the octagon. Moved his head. You got people, UFC showing the tweets. Most people have it 19-19 after 2.
I'm going to wait a second and let you call this.
426, 425. Let's see. 420. In the center, Cannonier misses with a head kick or goes low with it. So we're at 415 on my clock and counting. Oh, Kelvin gets dropped by a right. Uh-oh. Now he's backed up. He's hurt. Gastelum's hurt. 4 minutes left. Cannonier in attack mode now. 4 minutes left.
Yeah, he
Kelvin
just got
popped
hit
and dropped.
Yeah, and he immediately got back to his feet. As he was getting to his feet, Cannonier tried to kick him, and Kelvin did a very good job of getting his hand up, or that could have been the fight right there.
And he's not hurt. He's not showing it. Kelvin going for a takedown here, and he's got his back up against the cage. Throw some knees into the back of those hammies is what I'd be thinking right now. Obviously, he's working the back of. They're both sweaty and wet. Kelvin is looking for some sort of a takedown or a throw here, and now he's in the clinch. Cannonier turns around, and they're almost head to head and back out of there. First real clinch exchange up against the fence there. A little bit of control for KG, but he popped right back up, man. He got starched, and he popped right back up. But Cannonier, that jab, he switched stances to a southpaw and he's switching back and forth, but he switched to southpaw real quick, popped in the right hand for a jab, and then went right back to orthodox. Interesting. Yeah. That's high-level shit, man. I love this. Amazing. What a fight.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that he does really well. Him and Izzy, when we were talking about him earlier, they switch stances really well, and they do it in the middle of a combination sometimes, and that's when it really screws you because you don't think that that's their power side, and then all of a sudden it is their power side. But yeah, Kelvin didn't seem like he was too hurt by that. His output has slowed slightly, so maybe he just has a really good poker faces, and he's gathering, clearing the cobwebs. But that was definitely the biggest moment in the fight so far.
These guys, this round and forever, and there's still 2:15 left in the round.
I know.
It's crazy. These rounds seem longer. You just get mesmerized and you get lost in the fight. This is a great fight. You see the strategies there, changing stances. Oh, Kelvin. Oh, it looked like he had a takedown for a second there. Man, Cannonier is so strong. Kelvin pounced on him and had both his legs wrapped up, and you think there's no way he's not going down. Cannonier so damn strong, he was like, nope, just shook it right off. Crazy.
Yeah, good hips. Good hips. He was
so strong at 85.
Cannonier looks great tonight. So does Kelvin. Kelvin looks better than I think he has in a minute.
Yeah, he does. He needs to.
He looks
against
faster.
This dude.
He looks good on his feet. He's light. He's bouncing, which is something you don't see it. And his combinations are incredibly fast. So far, I think that the biggest story, other than the getting drops, Cannonier's jab is landing a lot.
Yeah, this is his round for sure so far. I would say, wouldn't you? Round 3, clearly it's Cannonier's round. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Kelvin's punch is getting a little wild too.
Yeah, and Kelvin's trying to get it back. Kelvin needs to just get to the end of this round and get over there in the corner. Well, he's trying to land big shots, man. You got to give it to Kelvin. Kelvin doesn't throw punches for no reason, man. He's trying to knock you out every time he lets that backhand go.
And he continues to at least show the takedown, which is smart because you might get those hands dropped a little bit, It's so much of this sport is about level changes.
Yeah. It keeps Cannonier honest. He can't just think it's going to be a kickboxing match. You're going to have to defend some takedowns. And it wears him down a little bit as well.
20 seconds left in the round, man. Both guys with a lot of spring in their steps still, Jeff.
Yeah, and what Kelvin did, although, and you just brought this up, is because he's gone for the takedowns, at the end of this round in those last 20 seconds, he's able to fake a takedown and then come back up with huge punches. And so he's just added to his arsenal, his offensive arsenal by throwing in those takedowns. They just showed
what did you say? About the replay. Okay. Dude, my God. That was, so my clean. God. He just dropped him, man, and KG just popped right back up. Right up. Oh, my God. Wow. And that head kick, that kick that he threw at him was close, man. Right after he dropped him, he throws the kick, and he blocked it. Oh, my God. This is just high level, man. They're both so good. This is a treat for us, guys. Anybody watching this fight, you're seeing the reason why, many reasons why this is the greatest sport in the world. These guys are putting on a show out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Kelvin getting that hand up to block that kick probably saved him the fight. I think that if that kick had landed right then, that was over. But Kelvin blocked it, got back to his feet, and started firing off left hands again. And here he looks fresh at the start of my round just started. He looks fresh at the start of it.
Pacquiao lost, by the way, if you're wondering. And people in the chat are saying it. Manny Pacquiao did lose by decision. So Pacquiao loses in Vegas. And we go to the 4th round, the championship rounds. Kelvin Gastelum and Jared Cannonier at middleweight, number 9 and number 3 in the main event on ESPN and MMA Weekly right here as we continue live. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. We got Jeff Cain. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, throw your comments up, like it, anything you can do. Follow us on social media. Go to MMAWeekly.com. Been a busy couple weeks for us with all kinds of fights going on. Jeff and Hunter and the whole crew on top of it as always. And Cannonier coming out aggressive. Man. Oh, wow. Cannonier coming out aggressive. Kelvin has to lock him up chest to chest and push him against the cage. And that's a lot of strength against the guy who fought at heavyweight. For KG to be able to push him and bully him back into the cage and hold him there, I mean, that tells you all you need to know about how strong Kelvin is, too, against Cannonier, who's a beast.
He's got two underhooks, so he's got the better position. He can just kind of move Cannonier around. Cannonier got to get his arm in there and break up one of those underhooks. But yeah, man, Kelvin's strong. Kelvin's a veteran. Like I said, he got hurt, got to his feet, started working in some takedowns, and then right there, whenever Cannonier started landing some shots, he clinched real quick. Kelvin's an intelligent fighter. It's just that right now, in the last 4 or 5 minutes, he's getting hit more than he was in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, we don't have a knockout on the main card or a TKO. This could be the one. Kelvin just got moving very well. Neither guy's showing any ill effects. Kelvin's got maybe a little bit of swelling right now on the left side of his face, but not too bad. Sorry, guys, I'm getting all these notifications on my phone. I'm trying to watch it. It's right underneath the camera on my computer.
Clever
placement on my part.
Man. I mean,
Cannonier hit a big shot there.
Yeah, and no eyes are swollen closed, no blood from the nose or anything like that. They both look pretty clean, which is crazy considering the shots that both of them have absorbed in this fight.
And their head movement is so good. Both guys just had a chance to land a big shot, and I'm talking they just missed, like serious chin music. Each of them about 4 seconds apart. Gastelum continuing to work the body. He's hit him 3 or 4 times there with some good lefts, and Cannonier not showing it, but his elbows are. I notice he's dropping his elbows, getting them a little bit tighter because you don't want to keep taking those body shots. It's hard to block body shots too when you bring your elbow down. It's one of the hardest things to do. Training for me is to bring the elbow down. Of course, I suck, but what I'm saying is it's one of the most difficult things to do in the sport when you have one hand here to block a punch and you're bringing that elbow down and you're kind of contorting your body. You're just doing like a crunch with your oblique to get your elbow down there to block that. It's not really foolproof, to say the least.
No, let's just start hitting you harder in the body, Jim. You'll get that damn elbow down.
Get that elbow down. Maybe that's the problem. I'm getting hit with the styrofoam pool toys instead of,
sledgehammer. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened right there. Maybe
140.
Here in a minute. I don't know if Kelvin got knocked down or he tried to go for a takedown. Everything happened real fast right there. I don't think he got knocked
30.
down. No, I think he just went for a takedown.
Let's see. I'm not there yet. I'm at 128.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of exchange over by the fence. I can't tell what happened.
Oh, he got hit, and then he was like kind of coming in and falling. I think maybe the leg held him up. I think he was getting dropped again. That was a big shot. Yeah, I think that was a shot. He was dropping him. He's so tough, man. Yeah, that was a big punch from Cannonier. And Kelvin just popped right back up, man. Wow.
And Kelvin is his left hand, man, is crazy.
Man, this is high level.
That thing. I wonder how fast Kelvin throws a baseball. God dang, because he throws that left hand a heater, man. That thing is a heater every time he unleashes it.
Man, 35 seconds left in round number 4. I have. They're both moving almost as well as they were in round 1. Cannonier might be a little more tired.
Yeah. Conditioning wise,
round 3.
I think this is the best. I think this is the best I've seen Kelvin conditioning wise in a long time, which is weird because he stepped up as a replacement.
Yep, and he went to Neuroforce 1. I told you that. Got the science going.
Yeah, I think that the losses will do Kelvin Kelvin's young still. I think that they'll do Kelvin a favor because if I had to give my opinion, right, that's kind of what I do anyway. I think Kelvin sometimes hasn't taken the sport as seriously as he should have, and now he's to the point where he has to. He has to. He's gotten too many losses. He's in too big of fights not to take this 100%. And I think that it's showing tonight. I mean, yes, he's probably losing this fight because he got dropped. And in that last round, I felt like Cannonier was landing more. But Kelvin looks great, man. Looks absolutely great.
Yeah, he does. He looks as good as I've seen him look, and he needs to against Cannonier. He's standing up in the corner. This mosquito just buzzed my head again. He's making me nervous. But they're putting a little bit of they got the Q-tip under Kelvin's left eye. I don't see any blood, but his cheeks are getting swollen. And Cannonier is looking pretty. Cannonier looks pretty tired in the corner. But man, this is just Kelvin's left eye has a cut underneath it, and he's got a little mouse there. He's got some marks on the face. But man, he got popped in that last round. He got definitely popped. I don't know if they're going to score it a knockdown. But
it was like I said, it was a weird.
John Crouch just. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say Crouch thinks they're up 3-1 in the MMA lab in Cannonier's corner, and Cordero thinks Kelvin's up in his corner. So obviously this fight is that close. In terms of the numbers, Jeff, for the significant strikes, they're almost dead even in every round but the third, where Cannonier had a big advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, all it takes is one shot from either one of these guys, though.
Oh yeah. And then, like I said, it's that you don't want it to go to the judges for sure. You do not want it to go to the judges. I feel like Cannonier's winning this fight. I might agree with the 3-1, but it's particularly the second and first rounds were so close that I don't know how they're going to score those. Third round clearly went to Cannonier. I give Cannonier the fourth.
Right.
I just don't know what happened in those first two, man. I don't know. But this is definitely fight of the night. There's no question about that. I mean, and Kelvin probably got lucky in that last round because I felt like it was a knockdown when I first saw it, but then he immediately grabbed for legs. And so I was like, well, maybe he was changing levels and he just got hit as he was changing levels. And so maybe there's going to be two judges not score that as a knockdown, or maybe all three. Hell, I don't know.
I don't think they ruled it a knockdown. The announcers are saying they didn't think it was a knockdown. Kelvin just landed a pretty good shot. We're at 3:30. I mean, the last minute of this fight is going to be crazy. Kelvin just hit him again with a left. He's really cranking up the output here, looking for a takedown. Had the leg up as a double leg, and he scores it. Now he's got his back. Cannonier right up though. Nice takedown by Kelvin. That's going to help him. Cannonier, though, bouncing right back up, and KG still working it again up against the fence. He's got his back, and now Cannonier is able to turn around. Kelvin's got the shoulder buried into the midsection, looking for, I believe it's a single, going high crotch single leg here. Man, he's going to try to lock his hands. Cannonier's so strong. He's got the wrist of Gastelum as Kelvin. He's got the right wrist with his left hand, and it's just locked on there, man, preventing that takedown. That's high level, just strength, brute strength from Jared Cannonier, the killer gorilla. Yep, he's got a takedown. Oh, level change.
Yeah, I don't know if
KG's got his back again.
Or not. But
well, he got one takedown. Oh, you didn't score the one takedown to takedown?
I don't know. He didn't have him all the way down. You know, yeah, he didn't take him all the way down. I don't know. You know, I don't
seated position
takedown, but and he bounced right back up. So I kind of view that as I don't know. You know, I don't know what the hell the judges look at almost any time. But Kelvin is having a better round this round because he's mixing it up and you know, and close the distance and clinched and try to work for takedowns instead, you know, and kind of make it a dirtier fight. And Cannonier.
The only round that's clear to me, Jeff, is the third round for Cannonier. That's the only clear round where I could say one guy definitely won the round. It was Cannonier in the third. The other ones are too close for me to call. Again, not being a judge, doing a show live, trying to watch it and talk and do all the things with you. But I mean, the third round to me was clearly Cannonier. Other than that, this round I think is Kelvin so far for sure. And this is more clear than the rest of them that this is Kelvin's round. But outside of that round and then this round, which still has 1:10 left, I don't know. This is a close fight, man. Two great fighters, still both of them with big output. Cannonier slowed down, if anything. His volume has gone way down. He looks like he might be tiring out, but we got less than a minute left. So he could be trying to conserve energy to throw bombs for the last 30 seconds. We don't know. Oh, Cannonier missed with a big right. Kelvin can't get the takedown. Whoa. He is so strong.
If
Kelvin cannot finish the takedown. How did he not?
If
Cannonier's got sweat in his eye. He can't see. Jeff, he can't see out of his right eye. He tried to get a stoppage. The ref didn't. Herb Dean said no.
Well, you can't get a stoppage.
Wow.
He had to say that he had to tell the ref that he got poked.
Yeah, he was trying to call. He was trying to say it was an eye poke, but. And now Kelvin has got 15 seconds left. Is pressed up chest to chest. These guys should be throwing heat at one another right now. He's trying to finish with a late takedown. He's got to push off there. 5 seconds. Come on, guys. Oh, Kelvin throws a head kick. Cannonier pops him with a right. 3, 2, and over. Cannonier landed a knee to the chest as the fight ended. Man, that's a tough fight to call, Jeff. That is about as tough a fight to call as I've seen in a while. What do you guys think in the chat? Jeff's got Cannonier. I had Cannonier for sure in the third round. The fifth round was Kelvin. The other ones are close, man. I'm thinking it's a 48-47.
I couldn't. My audio cut out. Yeah, I've got it Cannonier at least 3-2, but we'll see how the judges score it. You know.
We got the biggest crowd we've had all night in the chat. What are you guys thinking there? Don't be quiet on us now. Who do you think won in the chat? We're going to see this, and I can't. I want to hear it live, but oh, wait. No, I got the closed captioning. I'm good. I'm good. So let's see what we got here. No Buffer tonight, which is weird. Joe Martinez there. Anik's there, but not Buffer. Usually if Anik's gone, Buffer's gone, or whatever. Two of these guys hugging out. What a high-level fight, man. And for all of my Arizona brothers and sisters out there, man, our guys threw down tonight. Kelvin from Yuma, Cannonier trains at the MMA lab. Madsen at Fight Ready. I mean, that's a good night for the state of Arizona, so I know I got a lot of people who are watching here in AZ. Kelvin, I think, won the fifth round. He got the takedown, unless they didn't score the takedown. But let's see. Here we go. Joe Martinez has the scores, and he's ready to make the announcement. All three judges score it. 49-40. Wait, I missed the number. Unanimous decision, Cannonier. Wow. All right. Well, I mean, it's a hell of a fight. It's a hell of a fight, man. That's two of the highest level guys in the world. No shame to lose that one. I didn't get to see the numbers. They popped up and they were gone really fast on the closed captioning.
I didn't see them either.
They're all of them 48-47. That's what I thought. Whoever won, it was going to be 48-47. But Cannonier picks it up. So Kelvin won 2 rounds. I know he won 5. Cannonier won 3. I wonder what other round they gave to Kelvin. Maybe round 2? Yeah, they split 1 and 2. That's a good fight, man.
Let me do that update real quick.
I don't know if we're keeping it with Scott, and I didn't tell Scott when the round started. I'm sorry, Scott. Man,
it's fine.
It's hard when I'm doing the show.
Yeah, okay. I can't keep up with the clock. I'm just trying to keep up with not saying anything insane. You know, and then the results. You know, I'm putting in the results as we're going along. Look, that was fight of the night. There was no question about that. And you know, Cannonier definitely hurt Kelvin more than Kelvin hurt Cannonier. And that's not how you score a fight. That's not the 10-point must system. I just threw that out there. So I mean, I agree with those scorecards. I mean, I agree with that. I thought that was a close fight. They should definitely pick up a $50,000 check each for fight of the night. And then Cannonier. You know, I don't know. I mean, I probably will leapfrog him over Paulo because, look, anybody else, they're finished. You know, I mean, he dropped Kelvin. I mean, you know, and then I think that he finishes almost anyone else in the division if he lands those shots.
Cannonier just told DC that he's broke and he needs to fight. This is the theme of the night. Everyone's talking about they're broke. Well, I think he's going to get $50K more, but again, he hasn't fought in about a year, and he's had a lot of time out. So man, this is
he might
just
be.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake Paul's going to have a field day with this.
Well, yeah, but
that's all he's doing. He's calling out days like Dana bets $7 million on blackjack and his fighters can't eat.
well, they make it easy on him. They make it easy for Jake. But like I said, Jake's not. They're not. He's not raising the pay for anybody. He's just building a fight. That's all he's really trying to do. He's just trying to build a fight and make himself as much money as possible. He doesn't care about the UFC fighters or even the boxers on his fight card. It's just he's a promoter. He's just you got two promoters, and right now, as crazy as it is, I think Jake Paul's winning that promotion battle right now. Until next Sunday, until next Sunday, if Woodley friggin' sleeps him, then that's it. Dana's gonna have a field day, right?
That's next. That one's next Sunday. Wow, it's already here. Remember when it seemed so far away? Are we doing a live one? We got to do a live one for that. We have to. It's Tyron Woodley. He's a legendary champion. It's on a Sunday?
Yeah.
I'll do it. Sign me up. Sign me up. If I can call it live when Jake Paul gets knocked out, I'm all in.
Well, that's probably what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't trust boxing. But anyway. Yeah, I think Woodley's going to knock him out in the first round. But who knows?
People are talking about this could be the biggest payday of Woodley's life if they're paying him off to lose. I'm like, that's messed up. When legitimate competition would take a backseat to illegitimate competition in the name of money. Not that that's ever happened in boxing, Jeff. Never. Oh, man. Some good knockouts tonight, though, man. Oh, they're showing some replays of the knockouts on the prelims.
I don't trust boxing. I don't trust
No, me neither.
Well, but at least it's a professional fight and sanctioned. I really don't like exhibition fights because there are no rules. There's no line, right? I can literally say I'm going to fall down 5 seconds into the second round. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm not going to get up. I'm going to try to get up. Okay, that's fine. And because it's an exhibition, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. So at least this is a professional fight. At least the commission is involved. But I have a hard time believing Woodley's not going to knock him out. I've watched tapes and tapes and tapes, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't see how Jake Paul's going to do anything.
Man, I would have liked to have been there for this one. Good fight. But yeah, Jake Paul in Miami. The fight's in Miami, right? It's on Showtime. I know that.
I think it's in Cleveland, Ohio.
Is it? I thought, they were training. The Mayweather fight against Logan was in Miami. I forgot that it was so close. I've been trying not to pay attention to it, but of course, there's no. It's weird that he would fight him in Cleveland, though.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with that. I mean,
up in Miami,
because Woodley's from Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, and then I don't know where Jake Paul's originally from.
No, it is in Cleveland. Jake's from Ohio.
Okay, well that's probably why then. I don't know.
I wonder how many.
Wow, Jake's from
Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. The Browns look pretty good this year. They almost beat Kansas City in the playoffs last year. They got a good running game. Baker Mayfield coming into his own. The Browns might actually be a legit Super Bowl contender this year.
I have not watched a single football game this year.
Well, there haven't been any yet. It's been all preseason. But, I mean, in preseason, the only thing about preseason, they charge fans the same money. But, I mean, this was a great fight, Jeff. I mean, I'm sitting and I'm not sure, Scott, if we're going to stick around. I don't know if we got more people coming to the podium. I know, sure we have more people coming to the podium because Cannonier will be at the podium.
And so should Madsen, and we haven't had Porter yet either.
No, we didn't get. I don't know if I don't know if I'd send him to the podium after that fight.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I
as
mean, would
tired
you
as
really
he was
even?
in the third round? Yeah, he might not even be able to make it there.
Was it podium worthy, that fight even?
I don't know.
Was
No.
it podium? Like, what, we're the judge and jury
answer
here.
to your question. Yeah, here's the answer, Jim. No, it was not.
Wait a second. What am I missing here?
Madsen sitting down.
I just
podium.
literally, I maximized my screen here. Hold on, let me get this out of here.
I mean, you said
Dang
it, the greatest comeback.
There's Mark
and,
Madsen on MMA Weekly.
You fought a hard-fought victory tonight to get the win. How did you feel overall about your performance tonight?
It was a win. It was an important win. It was an important win for my family and I. I think that's the most important thing. From a professional point of view, there's so many things that I'd like to correct, that I'd like to do better. I mean, I got to thank the whole Fight Ready team down in Scottsdale, Eddie Santino, the guys down there. We worked on a lot. We really had to scramble. I mean, I didn't have a lot of time coming back from what I've just gone through. So we put in a lot of work, and the guys at Fight Ready did an amazing job. I still have some things that I would love to show a little bit more, but hey, we'll get it done. But I'm so proud of this night. I mean, just this moment. Clay's an amazing fighter, and I'm full of gratitude that I had the opportunity to step up into the octagon and face a true legend of the sport.
Obviously, when we spoke earlier this week, we saw the emotion that was there. Can you talk about how you felt coming into tonight? I mean, did this feel different than other fights or other athletic competitions that you've had?
I've been wrestling and fighting since I was 6 years old. I'm 36 now, so I've been doing martial arts one way or another my entire life. I mean, this night was special, very special, and I had to put a lot of extra into just keeping focus and trying to stay focused on the fight and what needed to be done up there. I missed a couple of things up there, but we got the job done, and I can head home to the hotel and can call my wife. She's probably waking up right now, and I can tell her that we took home the fight, and I do hope that will inspire my entire family to keep dreaming, keep putting up great dreams, big dreams, and having the courage to follow them, because that's really what it takes at the end of the day. Have the courage to follow your dreams.
We won't keep you from that phone call too much longer. I'm sure that's one you want to make. But I thought it was interesting that as the fight was going on, the wrestling didn't turn out to be the key. I thought the jab was really the key for you. So was there a point where you realized, like, hey, maybe the wrestling's not going to get it done tonight? We have to switch to striking being the priority?
I think the jab actually felt good. I mean, I started throwing the jab, and I saw the blood coming out of Clay's nose, and it was kind of just working very good. I did get to close the distance a couple of times and then got a good knee in once or twice. But yeah, the jab was getting the job done tonight. And I mean, we have a lot more that will be coming very soon, but it was a good jab tonight.
Yeah, no question. The scores, obviously, they were kind of a little bit all over the place. I think a lot of people weren't sure what it was. What did you guys think the score was, and how confident were you that we've got this decision?
To be honest, I don't know anything of the score, so whatever, I heard my name being called, and that was just a relief. I mean, what an amazing night. It could have gone either way. I was there to compete. I really put my heart and soul into the preparations. I went up there, I felt I was ready. I felt that I did my best. Clay's a stud. I mean, he's a legend of the sport, and it's an honor facing a guy like that. I'm just happy that I can go home now and make a call and tell my wife that it was a win.
Yeah. Last thing for me, you had the call out ready as well with Gillespie. I think that'd be a great matchup. Do you feel like that should be next, or are you kind of working towards that fight? And I guess, when do you want to fight again? I'm sure you want to go spend some time with the family first, but how quickly would you like to fight?
I think more importantly, I found a team at Fight Ready, a place that I can develop and a place that can help me become that fighter that I want to become in the UFC. And I think that's really what it's about, everybody's calling people out, but are you ready for the fight? Being the best wrestler in the division, I mean, you got to earn that spot. Gregor Gillespie is all about being the best wrestler. I mean, I don't know what style, because it's certainly not Greco Roman. He's sitting right here, and I mean, that would be an interesting and very, very exciting fight. Two different styles clashing, and let's bring that fight into play.
Whereas Mark Madsen beat Clay Guida by split decision in tonight's co-main event, called out Gregor Gillespie, wanting to prove who is the best wrestler in that division. But Madsen has a silver medal that says he's a better Greco-Roman wrestler. See, at least he, we talked about the styles of wrestling and made sure to point out that he's the best Greco-Roman, and I don't think he can argue that. Like I said, he's got the silver medal to prove it. But now we are waiting on. I don't think that they're going to send the heavyweight back. I don't think we're going to hear from Parker Porter. He's got two last names, Parker Porter. So we're just waiting on Cannonier now. And it could be a minute because this fight just got over. They go to the back. The commission's going to want their urine sample. He might want to shower. I'm sure he's doing media right now with ESPN, probably live. I just turned the channel, so I don't know. But we're going to wait on him and see what he has to say about his win. It's impressive performance, on him all the way around. And then Madsen's setting up his next fight. That's what he's trying to do right now, set up his next fight. And I think that Gregor Gillespie is a smart call out for him. Moves him up the ladder, but he's not shooting for a title shot or anything crazy. He's just kind of calling out somebody that's in front of him, and it's got a built-in storyline with the wrestling angle.
Old man Bladder. Sorry, Jeff. How long was I? Did I miss? He must have just finished.
Yeah, just a minute, man. Just a minute. I was about to start talking about our personal life, and then people were going to start yelling at me.
We still got the chat room going pretty strong in there. They love us.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to hear from Parker Porter. I think that they decided not to bring him to the stage, and then we're just waiting on Cannonier. I don't think that we'll hear from Kelvin because he lost, but we're definitely going to hear from Cannonier.
Yeah, and what's interesting? I didn't know we were staying through the end of the press conference, which is cool. I always love it when we do that because I'm an air hog, and I never want to stop doing the show. I'll do it all the way through tomorrow. We'll still be on Monday. Bring me some Snickers. Oh, damn, Snickers didn't pay us. I slipped there. But I would say that after those – and the Madsen-Guida fight was pretty good. The prelims were outstanding. And, the main card just is kind of like, but Pantoja was great. He's calling for a title shot. He's saying he deserves a title shot. He's beaten Moreno before. But in his last 3 fights, or 4 fights, whatever it is, he has losses to Askarov and Figueiredo, both by unanimous decision, which tells you that they were not necessarily completely dominating performances, but clear-cut winners. And those ahead of him, Figueiredo just lost twice to Moreno, so you understand not giving him a third one, especially the way he got finished in the second one. So you would think that it would be Askarov who would get that shot. And, Askarov's a wrestler. He's not the most exciting fighter. Pantoja maybe a little bit more of an exciting, quote-unquote, fighter. And that plays into it quite a bit with the UFC. So I could see that one going either way. But that was a pretty good fight to open up the main card, Jeff. And then after that, when we started looking at, the heavyweight fight was a snooze fest. I got to be honest. That was, I don't know if Dana's there, but if he were there, I'm sure he would come right out and say that fight sucked. That was not a good fight. Sherman and Porter was just not a good fight. But we had some really good knockouts on the prelims. Said Yakub Kakramanov and Trevin Jones, that was a pretty decent fight. High-level stuff there, and Kakramanov saying, hey, I'm here to stay. I'm at a high level. I'm just getting into my prime. I thought Vince Pichel was very impressive tonight, too. Pretty good performance by him.
Yeah, and his mustache. Yeah, I mean, we had some good performances. It's like he brought up the preliminary card started out with 4 straight finishes, and then we started getting some decisions, and then the main card kicked off, and we had some people stand out. I don't know if Pantoja is going to get a title fight or not. I understand where he's coming from. It was a big win tonight, and the top of that division, Figueiredo, is apparently not the option, and so it's either him or Askarov. And I don't know why Dana would say that. I mean, we talked about that. I think maybe Dana was just being a promoter, and Pantoja is going to have to either wait or get in another fight. And Guida looked great, man. I thought Guida looked good. I thought Kelvin looked good. You just had Cannonier looked a little better. And then, Madsen looked better. His jab looked great. He didn't look like a wrestler in there if you just judged him on his jab and his combinations. Right. He looked like he had sharp boxing. He just it's going to be interesting when he does have to use that wrestling,
Yeah, and interesting too when you think about this, man. On a night in Vegas where Manny Pacquiao lost and the WWE did SummerSlam, Kelvin Gastelum and Jared Cannonier put on the biggest show. What a fight in the main event. What a fight that was. If that was the only fight on the card, people would be happy walking away from that one. That was an incredible fight, man. 2 of the highest level middleweights on the planet, throwing bombs at each other from the jump. Kelvin mixing in some takedowns late. Cannonier with a unanimous decision, 48-47 across the board. All 3 judges saw it the same. And, it's a tough loss for Kelvin. He's had a lot of those. And, you feel for him because, I mean, those are great. That's a great fight. And no one's really losing in that fight. But, it goes on his record as an L. And for Cannonier, after all that time off and the injuries, look, when you break your orbital bone, which I've never done, I'm sure standing in there and taking punches after breaking your orbital bone is an adjustment. It's tough to do, to get back in there. And you sometimes maybe wonder, like, wow, do I still want to do this when you have your eye socket broken? And these things are definitely, it's not just, these guys aren't robots. You're human beings. And to bounce back from things like that and a broken arm and not knowing, if your body's going to be the same or your eye's going to be the same, it's just one of those things, man. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, he was, we didn't know if there was going to be ring rust or hesitancy, and I didn't see either of those with Cannonier. Which, there were some questions heading into that fight, like you brought up. How was he going to respond? The layoff, the losing of an opponent. You had basically a number 1 contenders fight for him fall apart, and then he had to take on a really game number 9 ranked guy. But he was able to keep it all together and go out there and get a win. Ultra impressed with him. But like I said, I was impressed with Kelvin. I thought Kelvin looked good considering that's the number 3 guy in the world. Kelvin had a good showing against the number 3 guy in the world. And considering Clay Guida, most people were kind of writing him off, right? I think that Guida looked good in that loss as well. So tonight's kind of a weird night for me because I felt like, Kelvin and Guida lost, but I felt like they looked as good as they probably ever looked, which is kind of crazy. But props to Cannonier for sticking it together, holding it together, and getting that W tonight. And then Madsen for being smart enough to call out a guy that's not too far up the rankings, but high.
It was Gregor, right?
Yeah, McGregor. I felt like that was a good.
It was Gregor Gillespie.
Call out. Yeah,
Good call out. I mean, he says he's the best wrestler in the division, and for him to, to be an Olympic medalist, a silver medalist, and call him out, and he's the number 10 guy. So you get into the rankings, and you have the opportunity to crack the top 10 in your next fight at 36 years old. You have to be smart. You have to be calculated on your path, man, because you want that title shot almost right away at 36. Father Time is running an Olympic sprint right now on your ass.
Yeah, especially when we talk about those lighter weight classes, I mean, yeah, you could be a heavyweight or a light heavyweight and fight until your early 40s and maybe even 44, Randy Couture and shit. But when you're talking about lightweights and featherweights and stuff, the difference between 42 and 38 is night and day. It's total. It's 2 different lifetimes. You can't keep up. And so, yeah, he's fighting Father Time as much as he's fighting people inside the octagon. But that's what I liked about his intelligent call out. It's like you brought up. He just called out the number 10th ranked guy in the world. He jumps into the rankings. If he gets a good win in that fight, then boom, he can call out the number 5 or 6 guy. And then after that, man, you're one fight away from a title fight, really and truly, or could be.
No, and
so I think
yep.
that he was smart.
No, and I was going to say, we can let the cat out of the bag. I mean, it's not exactly an industry secret that these things are calculated now. There are managers, there are fight teams, there's everybody involved, and they're sitting around going, hey, who should we call out if we win? These things are known and planned out by almost all fighters before anything ever happens. As we continue live here on MMA Weekly, what do we got going on here? Is this already Cannonier? Wow, this is fast for the main event fighter to be. Jared Cannonier, the number 3 middleweight in the world after almost a year layoff. A unanimous decision win over Kelvin Gastelum in the main event. Here he is live
of course.
on MMA Weekly
Kelvin was a
from
tough
Vegas.
guy, so talk to me about how you're feeling right now after a win like that.
Any win is good, man. I feel good after that win. Took a little bit of damage, but I'm not broken, so I can go home and hug my kids and be able to play with them come Monday and stuff like that. So I'm happy.
Nice. Like I said, I know you had a lot of respect for Kelvin coming in. You knew what you were facing. You did say you had to shy away from the leg kicks. Anything else that you had to change that played out differently than you were expecting coming in?
I knew his jab was pretty long and I don't want to say hard to read, but I guess I'll say hard to read. And he caught me with a couple of jabs, inside of my lip is pretty mangled, He got my eye, He threw those overhand lefts were pretty hard, even though I blocked most of them for the most part, I got some welting on my forehead. I feel like Quark from Star Trek. But, I'm happy, man. I got the win. Thank goodness for that. I got that W and 2 checks, man.
Yeah, no doubt. You dropped him, obviously, a couple times, man. I mean, you hurt him. I know you said, hey, I know this guy's tough, but mentally, is that difficult to hit a guy that hard, see him go down, and the guy pops right back up?
No. Mentally, people get really excited, but I kept my composure. When I saw him hit the ground and I saw him getting back up, he seemed like he had, he knew where he was. He may have been a little bit wobbly, in which I was trying to capitalize on, but he was smart. He kept his feet moving and stuff like that. So it is what it is. It would have been nice to get that finish though.
Yeah.
Especially early on without going through all that fire.
I thought the decision was pretty clear, but I mean, was there any concern at all? I mean, we know judges do weird things sometimes in MMA. So did you feel like, hey, we've got this in the bag, or was there still a little bit of tension waiting for the scores?
I could say there's always that tension when there's a decision, but I knew I won that decision. I knew I had at least the last 3 rounds. After I knocked him down, I felt I took the momentum and I maintained it for the most part. So not necessarily any concern, no.
Nice. I know you said the title shot's what you want, and this one wasn't a fight that you really wanted, right? But you accepted it because it was all that was there. Would you accept something down the rankings again? Are there any names? You said, if it's the right name, is the right name only those ones at the top, or are there other names that might make sense for you?
It's either title or contender, It was supposed to be Costa, but that didn't happen, I really needed to fight. So I don't think Izzy and Robert are going to fight until next year. So that's what, 4, 5, 6 months even? And then another 3, 4 months after that. I can't wait that long. So who knows? We may end up taking the fight.
Is Costa the only name that would make sense to you, or?
A contender. So if they give me a name, you win, you get the shot, okay. Easy.
I guess lastly for me, how soon would you like to get something booked? I mean, like you said, you can't wait that long. When would you like to fight again?
I would say the end of the year, beginning of, 2021, 2022? So, 3, 4 months from now, I'd like to get back in there.
Just hypothetically, would something like Darren or Derek, the winner of that fight, would that make sense? Would they be high enough?
Is that a contenders fight?
I think it is, no?
Then, yeah.
Cool. You said you knew in advance that Kelvin would be able to take some of your hard shots. Was that helpful then to make you not over rush and try and find the finish? Were you able to be composed the whole way through because you knew that in advance?
I'm always composed, you know. So, no. The fight could have gone any way, you know. It's all about keeping your composure, staying focused, and getting the job done. And that's what I did. I stayed focused. I kept my composure. I didn't go, ah, you know, kill. And then end up running to a shot or something like that, you know, because Kelvin was still alive. He was still awake. He was still able to throw shots. And he throws some high shots in there, you know. So it was easy to keep my composure. You know, me personally, it's easy for me to keep my composure anyway, you know. They can start busting in here. I'm going to keep my composure. It's going to be like an action movie in my head. Oh, get cover. Where's the nearest exit? Where's the bad guys? Can I take them out? No, get out of here. You know, stuff like that.
Cool. You mentioned about his jab. I'm curious, is Kelvin one of those guys where his movement is kind of unique, so you sort of need to take a round to get used to his feints and his head movement and his footwork?
Everybody's unique, you know. Everybody has their own little thing. Kelvin for sure. You know, he's a shorter, stockier build, so he was very efficient in getting into range to throw his shots. But I was efficient in keeping my feet moving. My coaches were efficient in keeping my feet moving, and I wasn't there to catch a lot of those shots. So, you know, I was prepared to hit him, and you know, him maybe not go away. You know, you can't knock them all out. You know, even though I know I have the ability to. But, you know, fights go the way fights go. You know, you can't really predict the fight. That's why I don't like calling fights. Everybody asks me, who do you think is going to win? I'm like, I don't know. It's a fight. So I wish people would quit asking me that, to be honest.
Congratulations on a great performance.
Thank you.
Wow, just like that, the Killer Gorilla is leaving the building. He's limping, he's scratched, he's battered a little bit. I think he said, Jeff Cain, Jared Cannonier, he said, I'm a little damaged, but I'm not broken. I can go home and hug my kids, which, of course, first and foremost, couple checks, which never hurts. And, I mean, what a great performance. I don't think he thought he won round 5. I don't think he won round 5. I think he's misinformed a little bit there on that one. But I definitely thought he won 3 and 4. And I don't know what other round they gave Kelvin, but I wonder if they did give Kelvin 1 and 2. And Cannonier was fighting from a 2-round deficit in round 3 and came out like that. And, you know, he definitely fought like it because he came out in round 3 and established control in a big way. And that was maybe the most impressive round of the fight by either fighter. So Jared Cannonier picks up the win, Jeff. And, you know, he's number 3. He said, give me contender, because he said if Izzy and Whitaker is not going to be till next year, he's going to fight before then. So he wants to fight someone else, and you got Brunson and Till coming up in 2 weeks, which would put them on the same timetable. And then you got Vettori coming off the loss to Izzy, who's ranked ahead of both those guys, and he's already beaten Jack Hermanson. So it's got to be Till, Brunson, winner, or Vettori, or Paulo Costa. I mean, that's some options there for Cannonier. And for Shelby and Maynard and Dana White, those are some pretty good options in the 185 division while you wait for Izzy and Rob to throw down for the title.
Yeah, I mean, Cannonier just wants the UFC to say that this is the fight that's going to get you a title. He'll take it.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of what it sounded like to me. Don't give a damn who it is. You know, they were throwing out names to him. He's like, is that going to get me a title? Then yeah.
Right.
If not, then no. And I think he's in that position, and he should smartly do that. He doesn't want to wait until next July, this time next year, to fight. So he's going to have to take on somebody. If I were him, maybe I think he matches up great with Costa or Vettori. I think he matches up great with both of those guys. So maybe jump on one of them quick. You know, Till's movement can make him dangerous. You know, I'm not sold on Till, but I'm not anti-Till. You know, I just don't know. He's got good movement, though. I give him that. So I don't know.
He's
man.
young. Darren Till, man. I'm sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to interrupt. You went in and out. What'd you say?
No, I agree that Till's young. Till's he's very athletic. I just don't know where he is mentally in the fight game. It's kind of where I am with him. But if I were Cannonier, I would probably go for a Vettori, because Vittori's movement is probably the worst out of all of those. You know, as far as avoiding shots and feints and stuff.
Yeah,
he's going to be able to hit Vettori. He's going to hit Vettori
and he's so strong as a former heavyweight against a guy who's predominantly wrestling. Vettori, I would want Vettori. I think, I wouldn't be afraid to throw down with Paulo Costa, but Paulo's legit got huge power. I wouldn't want that necessarily. Especially after what he just went through with Kelvin, Paulo's more of that and then some maybe. So I think when you look at Vettori, he's a tough son of a gun too. But I think Darren Till's got his hands full with Brunson. Brunson's that guy, everyone seems to think, oh, he's a boring style. He's going away. No, he's never going away. Brunson is a guy who literally, and he's a wrestler, and he's nasty, and it's a dirty fight. That's if Darren Till wins that fight, I'll be very impressed, and he'll deserve a big name because Brunson will beat you up throughout that fight. And every time you turn around, look, he loses 2 in a row to Whitaker and Anderson Silva, which I believe he really won at UFC 208, and I think everybody else does too in Brooklyn. He wins 2 in a row, knocks out Machida, and then he loses to Jacare and Izzy by TKO, but now all of a sudden here he is, he's won 4 in a row. Now, Shabazian and Holland aren't exactly world beaters, and Holland was a great matchup for Brunson as a wrestler, but Till is so diverse with his striking, and he's got his body type gives you so many. He's 28, but he just hasn't been in that mode where he's ready to take that step and be a title contender yet. This type of win against that type of opponent makes Darren Till an instant title contender, and I think that would be a great matchup to see Cannonier and Darren Till. Oh, good Lord. I mean, that would just be – that out of all those fights, Costa, number 2, probably Darren Till 1, Costa 2 are the fights I'd like to see. Vettori, to me, he's kind of like a clown almost, like what he did in the whole week leading up to the Izzy fight, trying to talk trash but couldn't really do it. I don't know. It just was – and then in the fight, he got thoroughly outclassed. So I don't know. But I do believe that if Till can beat Brunson, I'd like to see Till and Cannonier. That's the one I'd like to see.
Yeah, I'm saying as Cannonier. Like if I'm looking at it from Cannonier and I get to call my shot, I'm calling Vettori because I feel like he'll beat the shit out of Vettori. That's my opinion on that matchup. Till, like I said, I'm not sold on Till. Because I don't know where he is mentally. He comes off to me a lot of times as not taking it serious. And so you can get away with that with his athleticism and power and stuff. But you can't get away with that on this level. So if he looks great in his next outing, I'll shut the hell up about Darren Till. So his next fight's the one that's gonna prove to me. But yeah, stylistic matchups with the way they move. That fight's not going to the ground. That fight is going to be a crazy fight, and Costa too. I actually think that if I'm Cannonier, I would rather fight Costa than Till. Till's too unpredictable. He's got more speed. He's more diverse. Paulo, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a big puncher who you're faster than and you're more athletic than. So do what you did to Kelvin tonight. You jab, 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 and then hit him with big shots when you can. I feel like he matches up. Till might be the toughest matchup. Is what's crazy. I just said I'm not sold on Till, and that'd
be a fun fight though.
Oh, I know. The reason why I'm avoiding Till for Cannonier right now is because I think potentially that could be a very tough matchup.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but fans, matchmakers, the UFC, the last thing they want to see is Brunson dominate Till because they want Till to they're dying to push Darren Till. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with Brunson, but they're dying to push Darren Till. Dying.
No, I agree. Till's got a good. He's he has moments on the mic. Sometimes he comes off as sort of an adolescent to me, but that doesn't mean that's not appealing. Connor does too. That's appealing to a lot of people. But he's also funny and he's quick-witted, and so I think that I didn't realize it until the Masvidal stuff. Like I said, Till's growing on me a little bit. I just don't know where he is mentally, and he's so young, and so maybe I'm just so far removed of my mid-20s that what is just youth and confidence comes off as like not taking something serious to me now in my life. So I could be reading Till completely wrong, and I acknowledge that. Fully.
All right. Well, we got one. We got one coming your way next Saturday night, Jeff. We're getting played off here. Scott says they're getting kicked out of the Apex. The UFC people want to go home. What a good night of fights, though. Cannonier with the win over Gastelum. We're back next week. Barboza and Chikadze. Giga Chikadze gets a big shot against Edson Barboza. 2 weeks till Till and Brunson. Not that far away. UFC 266. It's been a great night. I want to thank all of you for being here with us on MMA Weekly, the most trusted source in news and entertainment and mixed martial arts for almost 20 years. For Scott, for Jeff, for our whole team, I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Smash that subscribe button. Thank you for being here on MMA Weekly UFC Fight Night Live. Make it a great night, everybody. Keep your game tight and your mind right. We're out.